Right, Rob, you're good to go. Take us in, good GM.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to our new Friday night campaign on Heavyweight Gaming. You might recognise a few faces on here from some other bits and pieces, mainly top right up there. So it's not just a case of the cameras maybe look slimmer. I'm running this one, and 80 is going to be playing.
Hang about. That one in the script. Just.
So this is our new campaign. It's the brand new Wizard of the Coast book, Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden, set up in the north of Sword Coast. Brand new, came out I think 2-3 weeks ago now. It's a fantastic campaign book, so we're going to be running a lovely campaign loosely based around it. Depending on how long it takes before these go off script, probably in the next hour, and then I'll just throw the book out the window and we'll just go into the realms of winging it. Well, thank you very much for everyone who's tuning in. We're going to be running every Fridays from 8 PM right here on Heavyweight Gaming Channel. We've got no official sponsors for this show as yet, but we do have our partners to the channel, Ruffworx Creative, Sawdust Swearwords, and Bardic Inspiration. Continue to do lovely products, lovely crafting bits and pieces, dice trays, dice, all the good stuff that crop up on the channel. All on Heavyweight Facebook if you want to have a look and see what they've got. Other than that, we're going to jump straight in. We've got a fair bit to get through on this session. We'll try and keep active in the chat, respond to any questions and things as they crop up. But as the nature of these things, if we're in the middle of something, we'll do our best. And we'll try and respond as and when. Got a few new players who are new to the channel, so welcome to some new friendly faces. Got a couple of returners. So do quick introductions to who we've got playing, and then we'll dive in and set the scene and see what you're getting yourselves in for. So, I'm Rob. I'm going to be jamming. You probably, if people who watch a couple of your shows might recognise me from the Carbon 2185 stream on a Thursday, whereas I play Larry the Marine and doing our very best to kick doors in on that one. This time, a bit of a change of pace. Going to be running this one. It's quite a nice side to be on the other side of the DM dice, ruining 80s Day rather than the other way around. So we get to kill his characters this time. Long live Sparks.
Rip.
So, 80, as you all know, we've got Hannah there in the middle. Give us a wave, Hannah. We've got Tony. Give us a wave, Tony. We've got Angie. Give us a wave. And Ree in the other corner. There we go. So we've got some character names already up. We'll come on to that in a little bit. Yeah, that's our play. So thank you guys for jumping on board. I know we've had a little bit of back and forth setting things up beforehand. I know quite a lot of you are either connected to the channel in some way, you've either watched previous things, or you know people who know people. So thank you for getting involved. Always good to see more people joining the community where we chuck dice, tell stories, and go off script. So, got a little bit of a scene setting for you all. So, for those who are not familiar with the setting, this is in the Sword Coast of the Wizard. It's the Wizard of the Coast campaign setting. So it's in Faerun, Sword Coast, along the likes of Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter, Waterdeep, and most of the other kind of core D&D adventures. But welcome to Icewind Dale. It's the frigid and frozen northern expanse of the Sword Coast, leaving Baldur's Gate and Neverwinter far to the south, beyond the spine of the world mountain range. This vast open tundra and plains stretch for miles beyond the mountains, all across the Dale. The reclusive Regedman barbarians make their camps along the edge of the Reged Glacier in the east. Goliath tribes roam from their settlements in the mountains to the south, and the northern regions are mostly uncharted. Past the imposing Calvin's Cairn Mountain, the single peak of the Dale that stretches into the dark skies. Wild herds and beasts roam the tundra, scavenging what little food remains, and monstrosities lurk in the caves and the shadows, with great white drakes soaring above, signifying that danger is a part of day-to-day life. It's not all doom and gloom, however. Over the last few decades, prospectors, adventurers, and those looking to explore the furthest regions of the world have migrated to the Dale, and over time, the establishment of the 10 Towns was formed, a confederate of 10 settlements forming the kind of hub of civilization in the heart of the land, woven around 3 great lakes and rivers that flow. They offer all their own characters and trades amongst the people, from jewelers and miners mining from the cairn itself, or the famous knucklehead trout that are fished out of the river and traded. The people here are hardy, resourceful, and committed to making their lives work. Most of the villagers have been here their entire lives, following their relocation, and once people settle here, they tend to run the remainder of their days. It's getting to the point now where the new generation of residents are starting to be born. Natives from Icewind are joining the community, while explorers, artists, or those hiding darker reasons for residing here make up the majority of the townsfolk. All is not well in the Dale, however. Over the last 2 years, the Frostmaiden herself, Auril, has plunged the land into everlasting cold and darkness. The land has not felt the warmth of the sun in that time, and the night gives way to gloomy twilight before returning to the dull blackness day after day after day. The winds and Arctic gales ravage the land, and those setting out into the wilderness are seldom seen again. The curse of the Frostmaiden's nightly ritual can be seen on the clearer nights, as her image takes to the skies and her magic spreads outwards, across, and the skies never brighten, and the next cycle of darkness fades into the next. 10 Towns has felt hardships before. It's a tough place to live. Trade is tough. Explorers make up the majority of potential clientele, but it's not on the throughway. It's off the beaten track. But it's not felt hardships like this, or for this length of time. Trade's drying up, visitors are getting rare, and the livelihood from the waters surrounding the towns is under threat, as some of the lakes remain encased in ice. The speakers of the settlements, the town leadership, have resorted to offerings to Auril to keep the frost at bay, some more costly than others. As trust has begun to fade, desperation takes root, and the Dale is facing uncertain times. It is here in 10 Towns that our story will begin. Deep in the Everwinter of Auril's magics, 5 individuals are to cross paths and carve out their own journey across 10 Towns and the Dale beyond. We have a Roman Goliath, a driven Goblin, kind Tabaxi, elusive Wood Elf, and battle-hardened Sun Elf reside here, and they have their tales to tell and their secrets to hide. It is just another day in 10 Towns, howling wind, bitter cold, foul tempers, and snowdrifts big enough to bury a herd of moose. But today, the local tavern is abuzz without news about a series of recent killings. Before the murders, the only question on everyone's mind was, will summer ever return to Icewind Dale? And now the question is, will I be the next victim? Nothing breeds fear and paranoia like a murderer with no face or name. Which is where we are going to step in. Our journey will start in the capital town of Brinshandar, the largest central town of the Dale. It's a trading hub, lots of market stalls. Sadly, more are closing daily, and the once bustling market full of people, excitement, oddities, and exotic items we traded has fallen on hard times. People have resorted to selling what they have, living sort of gold to, last gold, scavenging around and making the best of it, but times are tough. Which brings us to our short diminutive goblin friend. There is a goblin, by the name of Elkis, who resides in one of the distant towns of Durgan's Hole, who made his way to Brinshandar recently, following some tragic circumstances in their life. Having investigating around, his journey has taken him to Brinshandar, following these recent murders to see if the two are connected. He's already got a few people joining the cause to try and get to the bottom of this for what little coin he has to offer. And accompanying him into town is Audrey, as you two are in the centre, around the tavern and kind of what used to be kind of the nightlife district, which is now a lot more solemn, a few people drinking their sorrows away with their last few copper. So for Elkis, if you'd like to give us a quick rundown on what you look like, please.
So I'm Elkis, the Goblin Paladin. I'm roughly 3.5 feet tall, so very, very tall. Got violet eyes, purple hair, pretty much a braid going down my back. Studded leather armour, warhammer that's probably the size of me, shield slung across my back, and my knapsack, and big furs.
It's gravy time.
All the cold weather gear have just piled on me, so I'm almost round.
And accompanying you on this journey is the elusive wood elf by the name of Ardry. Ardry, you could give us a quick rundown on what you look like, please.
Adri is, she looks very strange for Wood Elf. She doesn't have the typical characteristics that you tend to find. She still has the really light copper skin. She has green eyes and almost like snow white hair. It's long, probably falls to about her waist, but it's usually tucked into her cloak, so you don't tend to see it too often. A scar just on her eyebrow from a previous battle. And she is a very, very quiet character. She isn't very charismatic, which is odd for a wood elf. She likes to kind of stay to herself and not say much and just stay at the back of everything, but will fiercely fight for anyone that she needs to.
Okay. You two have met in the sort of northeastern areas of 10 towns between Lonely Wood, Durgan's Hall, Tourmaline, and some of the other settlements. You joined Elkis's little foray into investigating, who seems to think these 3 recent murders have somehow got a connection with his recent circumstances, and he's managed to pull together a little bit of coin to hire a few people to help him out. And you guys have made your way to Brinshandar. You're right in the centre area. You're aware that to the north of the city is the most busiest of the inns, called the North Look, where traders, more unsavoury types looking for more darker dealings, and generally the little work that does remain can be found. The town is quiet, as is kind of the part of the course. Most of the buildings here tend to be quite low to the ground, the roofs really steep, so snow is not settling on them, which leaves these big sort of build-up of snow running either way down, and you see a lot of folk shoveling the shoveling their paths and their front doors. Drives, why not? And kind of keeping the snow at bay. You've got oil lanterns that line the streets, used by whale oil that's farmed and harvested from the northern regions. And you see a few young people on ladders refilling them and lighting them. You are aware that even during the middle of the day, it's still dark. You get about 6 hours of very dull daylight, and then it's just kind of twilight permanently. So the lights are kind of the familiar sense of this whale oil burning, the lights flickering across the town. And you guys are making your way northward towards the North Look to see who you can find, who you can bring to your cause, and to see about if these recent events are connected. Your furs are pulled up. It is cold. We're talking like in the minus 20s, 30s up in here, like without cold weather gear, without your furs. It is Arctic cold.
Beautiful.
It's pretty much the distant north. We're pretty much just talking about, Leeds. Dodgy tavern. It's cold. Everything runs on candles. It's pretty much Leeds.
I'm having flashbacks.
Back in childhood. You guys make your way up to the North Look. It's functional rather than pretty. It's a fairly sizable structure. You hear a little bit of murmured chat. It's certainly not an excitable, upbeat atmosphere. There's no music, things like that. Most musicians and artists have sold their instruments and equipment to pay for food or lodgings recently. You've got a few kind of down-for-wear types drinking their last sorrows away with their last few coins. There's still a few people in there. You are aware of the owner, a guy called Scramsax, who is a previous adventurer type. He retired to set up the bar, but makes no secret of it. And as the door opens, he kind of gives a curious look to Elkis and just kind of a polite nod to Adri as you two enter the building. Over to you guys. You two are in the North Look Tavern.
What can I see around us?
Can you see around you? Mismatch of furniture. So you've got maybe 7 or 8 tables scattered around, various patrons still wrapped up in still like less heavy coats, but they've still got a fair amount of furs, and a lot of people have got hoods up, drinking the mead that is famous in the regions. It's the drink of choice. You'll be aware that it's one of the towns of Goodmead has its own hive farming. I forget the name for the official name of a beekeeper, but I'm sure there is one. And it's all sourced locally and brewed locally, fermented, and it's transported out. And everyone seems to be partaking in that. It is quiet. Roll a perception check for me, the pair of you. First roll of the campaign.
Oh, what are we going to bet that it's a natural one?
I hope
Ready?
so. I hope so.
Oh, a 19.
Strong start. 14. Okay. Nothing jumps out of you out of the ordinary. Brinshandar is not a place you two are local to. You've not lived here, but you're familiar with it. It's the hub of trade. Elkis, probably you less so. You tend to keep being a goblin. As far as you're aware, the only goblin who visits the city, but with furs and hoods pulled up, most people could be anyone, and it's not clear at first glance what people's heritage necessarily is. Andre, for you, again, you're fairly seclusive, but you have traded in the areas before. You have brought timber and plants and things you forage from lonely woods and from the forested land. And you've traded in these areas before, so it's pretty standard evening turnout for what you're aware. It's quiet. The famous Old Bitey is mounted on the wall, which is the prize catch knucklehead trout, the biggest of its kind that was found in the lakes, and it was fished and mounted on the wall. It sits proudly up above the bar, and you can see Scramsax just sat at a chair, just kind of rocking back and forward slightly as he just watches the bar and awaits at the next patron. You do.
We would like to be the next patrons.
Okay, as you guys head up to the bar, you do spot in the corner a large figure, someone who Elkis you won't have ever seen, and to you is probably pushing 3 times your height almost. Audrey, someone you recognise. You've come across this individual before, someone who you've traded with. It is a little bit surprise to you, as it's usually like clockwork. Once a month, a trade route comes in, this gentleman trades with you and then heads out. But it's in the middle of the month, and it's not something you expect. But in the corner is a large figure you know as Gentle Steps. If you want to give us a quick rundown of what you look like.
Gentle Steps is a 6'11" Goliath, covered in furs and hide, with frost blue skin and lightning blue eyes. They've got a thick beard that covers the skin and the flesh, so you can't see, but it's not a long beard, it's just thick. And quite a substantial mohawk down the middle of their head. Mahogany brown beard and hair. They've got a dark grey leather braided band around their forehead. On their back is a grey axe with a single blade rather than your generic double-bladed. On each hip is a couple of throwing axes, but the thing that seems to stand out more than the rest of his weaponry is a large bowie knife, that probably the length of a short sword, and a tomahawk axe on the other side. And
For you, Elkis, we're talking like long sword size bowie knife.
Yeah. And that is Gentle Steps, the Goliath rogue.
He's sat with his hand-carved flagon. What's the word?
Tankard.
Tankard. There we go. Thank you. The big hand-carved tankard. That's twice the size of anyone else's in the bar. Squeezed into the table in the corner. And just kind of you and Adri kind of notice each other for a split second.
Adri, can you get me one of those tankards?
No. You can buy your own. I don't think we're going to get one that size at this bar. I'll get you a half pint, shall we? I then go to the bar. I notice Gentle Steps, and I just give him a nod of acknowledgement while I go and get two tankards of mead.
I call across the bar. Hey, Adri!
I just cringe a little bit. I'm like, oh no. Kind of not understanding why people just can't be quiet and reserved. And I just wave as I order the drinks.
Yeah, the drinks are handed over without much fanfare. Scrumshack's kind of, I think your friend's calling you in the corner over there.
Yeah, I'm aware. I'm gonna go sit next to him. But thank you for letting me know. I wouldn't have noticed otherwise. And I hand some money across to pay for
Money is
drinks.
exchanged. You have 2 healthy cups of the finest honey mead.
Fantastic. I pick them both up, and I mention over. We're gonna go and sit with gentle steps.
I went over and I sit opposite gentle steps and put my warhammer down at the side of me.
Is your warhammer goblin sized? Or is your warhammer human sized?
It's oversized.
So gentle steps. This small goblin
Have
figure.
have I met Elkis before?
You won't. It's not weird to see a goblin in town. There are all sorts of weird and exotic creatures that kind of just try and make it, and everyone's kind of.
You're a creature.
Everyone just kind of accepts that there are some more exotic folk around, and most people tend to not ask too many questions because they don't want questions coming back their way.
Give him a sock, see what happens. What time of day is it?
Time of day, it's. I use the word daytime loosely. It's kind of on a
Am I
weird.
saying morning or afternoon?
Probably more mid-afternoon.
Afternoon,
say-
Andrew?
Adri wouldn't drink in the morning. Like, she's a little bit more reserved. I just afternoon. Odd to see you around here at this time of the month.
Times be tough.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. And I go to sip my mead.
And you are? Pleased to meet you. I'm Gentle Steps. And I'll hand out my very large hand. What's your name? What's your name?
Elkis.
Elkis. Pleased to meet you, Elkis.
You too.
Don't see many goblins around these parts.
How do you know I'm a goblin?
You can.
I've seen goblins, just not many around these parts. And you just look like the goblins I saw before.
Adri just stays really quiet and just kind of like looks into her lap as she just really slowly drinks her mead because she's like, this is uncomfortable. I am uncomfy.
Okay. I don't think there is many of my kind around. I've not met that many myself.
You haven't not. Go on.
You just as background there, okay, so you will have the only goblins you've ever met are the occasional kind of wild, ferally goblin-y types. And it's very, 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 like maybe 1 or 2 ever. You've certainly not met any that kind of living civilization, so we say.
No, I think you'd say I'm kind of one of a kind.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all? You got any work going, Adri? Tribe's skint, need gold. Meat's not cutting it these days.
It's literally the reason why I'm here. Do you really think that I wanted to leave Lonely Town? I'm just gonna do something if they've got a notice board or something like that. You know, do some jobs, get some gold, get back to Lonely Town.
You kind of glance around at the mention of this. You don't necessarily see any notices as such. There's no like notice board. There's no mercenary board. There's no traditional, pull a tab, call 357 to kill gnolls for money sort of situation. There's a few folk in here who in the past have offered trade work. None of you are really familiar with any mercenary work as such. There's a few folk who seem a little bit more armed and a little bit more equipped than the rest, dotting around. And you do spot a couple of fairly skeptical looking individuals, an elf and a tabaxi, there we go, who do cut a little bit of an odd couple sort of situation. You think it's the Tabaxi who runs the mountaineering and expedition up in Targos that you've come across. You're not quite sure. There's not a lot of them running around, certainly, but hoods are up and they're kind of hush talking with what appears to be an elderly dwarven lady. If Vale, you want to give us a quick description of your Tabaxi self?
Yeah, Vale is just under 6 feet tall, quite slender. She is a snow leopard tabaxi. She's got a bow strapped to her back and a short sword on her side. She's quite heavily kitted out in adventuring gear, lots of fur, very prepared for the climate, very used to it. And yeah, she's got sort of some exotic beads that don't look like they're from around here, braided into her hair. And that's the only thing that would really stand out to anyone. She looks quite like a local.
Yeah, it's a figure that you probably don't know Gentle Steps, but certainly Elkis and Adri, you may not have spoken to her directly. However, you will recognise. There's a mountaineering tracker guide who used to run, or as far as you're aware, runs excursions up and around the mountainous area. Sat on the same table is this elderly dwarven lady who you can't quite hear what she's making out at the moment, but then sat across the table is a kind of weathered, quite heavily armoured and kitted up elf or half elf. If Celine can give us a little bit of a rundown on what you look like, please.
So Celine is full elf, but she's mainly sun elf, a little bit more on the darker side, so you can't tell what else she has. She has a very dark olive gray toned skin, long wavy slick back hair to her middle back, and very pale yellow eyes. She has 3 distinctive scars across her left eye from looks like some kind of animal attack that didn't damage her eye surprisingly, but just went straight across. And she is pretty heavily kitted out with a crossbow at her back. She's got 2 Sultan scimitars at her side that she can pull out easily with each hand crossed over. Lovely kill, that is. And she is, as a fighter, has a lot of very tight furs, but a very heavy cloak of hers, so you can't really see the chainmail that's woven inside all of her armor underneath there. So she's pretty kind of held back and closed, and she keeps that cloak on her quite a lot, just to kind of not draw too much attention to, especially like her gigantic swords. Crossbow, easy enough, anybody can have it, but she'll stay. She used to be a very, very sarcastic and loud individual beforehand, before the ice kind of came over the last couple of years, and she's become a little more quieter and just a little more taken in. So she is a little apprehensive at meeting new people.
And at the moment, you've got the 3 of you on one table kind of looking over. And on this table, we have Celine and Vale, who are currently entertaining their own drinks and kind of putting up with the ongoing chat of this elderly dwarven woman who has been... You get the feeling she's a bit of a gossip, like a town gossip. Vale, you've probably run into her or seen her around a few times. You don't know her personally, but you do know her name is Hiln, Hiln. And she is a bit of like the town grandma, if you like sat around, like nattering away, chatting. Always got a story to tell, always got gossip, everything's always doom and gloom, and she'll talk anyone's ear off who gives them half the chance. And she's been going on about these recent killings and how it's getting worse by the day, and you never know what's going to happen next in these towns. It used to be better a few years ago before these magic started getting in the way, and when people just used to do an honest day's work. And you two are just kind of drinking your drinks, kind of looking around, just trying to like, we've sat at the wrong table on this one. And you glance over and you see the very striking triplet of a wood elf, a Goliath, and what appears to be a tiny goblin with a massive hammer sat at a table just next to yours. And you just kind of lock eye contact for a second. Vale, you recognise a few people from around town. You recognise the tiny goblin as someone who asked you some questions. If you knew anything about the recent murders a few weeks past, not something you know a lot about, but you do recognise him as the same gentleman who came and spoke to you previously.
Mm-hmm.
And Celine, you recognise kind of the Goliath cuts a bit of a striking figure, and you're pretty sure that's the Goliath who normally does the trading from the up in Wormdoom Crag. And again, it's kind of weird to see him in a bar. He's usually just riding a cart, collecting stuff and leaving. It's a little bit of a under unusual circumstances. You do kind of notice that they're there, looking over in your direction.
So there's been murders, and I'm out of my schedule. Great. It's a bit fun.
Another pair over there. That's Vale. Vale!
Oh, hello.
Adri is still very uncomfortable with the whole situation of lots of people being around, so she's just burying her head down into her meat, just like, oh my god, no!
I'm gonna see that Adri's uncomfortable and sort of not approach too quickly and aggressively. But I'm gonna get up and walk over to Elkis. I won't sit down. I'll just stand near him and say, "Hello, how are you doing? Have you found out anything more about those murders that you were inquiring about a few weeks ago?"
Murders?
Yeah, there's been a spate of murders. Someone close to me was, and well, no one seems to know anything. I was asking Vale. You haven't heard of yourself yet, have you?
Me, no. I've been trying to keep my ear to the ground, but no, nothing. No one seems to know anything about them.
I really don't know where to go with it. I asked Adri here to help me out. Adri, say hi.
Just gonna nod gently at her, but not make her in the spotlight too much because I can sense her discomfort.
Hi.
Meanwhile, Glendale stands senses nothing.
Hello, I don't believe we've met before. You can't be from around here.
Nah, I'm up from the Wormdoom Crag. Name's Gentle Steps, and I put my hand out.
I'm Vale. Very pleased to meet you. And I'll
Pleased
shake
to
his
meet you,
hand
Vale.
warmly.
I'm listening to all this from where I'm sitting, and I'm just
I'm gonna
looking at the
turn
crowd
and
going,
I'm gonna see that Hiln is chewing your ear off and sort of gently make eye contact and beckon you over. Sort of,
politely. Yeah.
leave when you can.
I will weasel my way out of the conversation that I'm in with the old lady in my usual, ever so eloquent tongue way, and kind of just slide on over slowly.
She's pretty much mid-conversation, but she doesn't seem to notice that you're not there or listening. She continues regardless.
Just turns to the next table.
Okay, you're all at a table. You're all nursing your drinks. It's this little awkward gathering of...
Hi, I'm Gentle Steps, and I put my hand out to Celine.
Takes his hand. Tight grip. Hello.
Hello. It's gravy time.
This is Adri.
Apparently it's gravy time. That's all
Thank you
I
very
know.
much. It's Trans K9. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
I'll greet all of them. Hello.
Celine, this is Elkis. I've met him before a few weeks ago. And then this is Adri. I've only just met her, but she seems quite quiet.
She's very quiet.
It's alright.
It's a pleasure to meet you. I think I've seen you around.
You might have. I kind of dabble in a few things here and there, sporadically. Now, what brings you all together? Such a
As
fancy-looking group.
As you guys are talking, you do realise that Hiln has also pulled the chair over, and you get the impression when you waved them over, she got the wrong impression and is kind of just perched at the edge, just listening in, nursing what appears to be probably one of many glasses of some sort of beverage.
Everyone, this is Hiln. I know her quite well. She's a local, and she's been living here for many, many years now. This is Gentle Steps, Adri, Celine, and Elkis. If anyone's to know anything that's going on in this town, it's her, but I don't think...
You heard about these murders, have you?
She's mentioned anything about these murders.
Murders. It's terrible. This used to be such a nice place with the traders and the markets. Used to be able to buy these little toffees made from the honey up in Goodby. They were lovely. It's such a shame they've shut down.
Is that because of the murders?
Not long before the murders, just, you know how it is. No one's trading anymore. All the shops are shut.
That's true. No one's trading. It's costing me a fortune.
Likewise.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you about these murders, though. They all have. It's all coming from those eastern villages, eastern towns. They've all got something in common. All the towns that don't stick to their sacrifices and don't appeal to whoever that witch is up north. It's all from the same places, and I bet Targus has got something to do with this.
Argos?
Not Targus. Sorry, it is Targus.
He's getting lynched.
I am.
Quality.
Talk.
Quality.
Talk.
Dungeon Master.
We got 45 minutes in before I screwed it. Well, look.
So I ended up married.
You'll know Torg, surely. The old woman who runs the trading caravan.
Oh, yeah. I know talk.
Roll a deception check.
Deception. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I am not a deceptive person. That would be a 0.
I beat you on a 3.
That's a nat 1 minus 1.
She just kind of leans over and just kind of looks at you dead in the eyes for a painfully long few seconds of.
Hi, I'm Gentle Steps.
She'll shake your hand very awkwardly and talk. How towards Caravan, wherever they've been through, the murders have followed. No, she's always up to no good. That woman. Ever since she shut up shop here and travelling around with those types she hangs around with, I don't know. She's never trusted me. Never trusted that one. I didn't. Always up to no good.
You think it's her doing them?
I don't know. But it's a bit inconvenient, don't you think? That the towns that people wind up dead is towns that caravan ends up in.
You say she's a trader?
Yeah, I told you. She trades at travelling merchants. That big wagon with all the ribbons on the back of it. You must have seen it going around.
What does she
Does
sell?
she stand to gain though? That's the
Sounds
question.
familiar.
I don't know what anyone stands to gain around here.
Does she
Reasons anyone have to kill people.
Was she making
sell
money?
old strange?
They're making money for killing.
Who have they killed? I don't even know
I
the
don't know.
names
No
of
one's
the
got any
people that
money.
were killed.
Who's going to be paying anyone for killing?
Don't
There's not enough of us as it is.
I don't mean like getting money for killing, but is she getting money from a caravan? Like, are people buying from her?
But no, you probably have to ask her that. Dare say no better than any other shops around these parts.
Where is she?
Just wondering if you were jealous.
She'll shrug her shoulders. The caravan goes through town. Like last I heard, they were heading out.
These people who were killed, any importance? Who are they? Why do they matter?
You, Adri, I'll get the character names eventually, and Vale will you'll know. Just know that there has been 3 murders. One in East Haven, one in Brinshandar, and one in Targus. And you will know that.
They were all women, and it really is Jack the Ripper. No.
They're all
No.
women and prostitutes.
Sex
Yorkshire.
workers.
A nutshell.
You would know that it is a. I've just closed my tab, so let me just quickly open that up again. You know that it was a halfling was killed in East Haven, a known trapper, someone who used to go and trap reindeer and some of the smaller polar bears for meat, furs, the antlers. Was quite a prolific trapper in the area. You know that in Targos it was a human who used to work at the docks as a shipbuilder. And a couple of days ago in Brinshandar, it was a dwarven gentleman who worked out of the smithy as a glassblower, who helped make a lot of the lanterns that you see out around in town. And Hilner will just take a long draw of this pipe and send this plume of sickly smoke into the middle of the table. Just leans in. I bet my pa's beard that she has something to do with it, that talk.
Do I know Tog?
Roll a wisdom check. Just a straight wisdom.
Natural one.
You have no idea. We admire your effort, Elkis. You can give it a go. Give us a.
My background, yeah.
Yeah, you know people.
What am I rolling?
Just roll a d20 and your wisdom modifier.
I don't know this Tog. Has she ever been to Duggan's hold?
Plough through, Tony. Style it out, mate.
7.
7. The name rings a bell. You're definitely aware of merchants that don't. I'd say the vast majority of traders used to be based out of Brinshandar. It's the central area. It's where everyone comes to trade their goods before heading back to their respective areas. There's a few that have started roaming. There's a few Caravan traders that you're aware of. You recognise that Torg is a travelling merchant and has been for years and years and years, but you can't quite put a face to a name or can't quite pull any details from your memories, unfortunately.
Can I have a go with my knowledge of the area and the people that are around?
You're not all throwing individual goes at the history check.
Can I have a go?
But why?
Because that's not how this works. Generally, just as a quick DM's note, if you're all going to individually have a go at the same task, I'll probably cap you at 2 attempts, just because otherwise can I open the door? No. Can I open the door? No. Can I open the door?
Can I try to open the door again?
Yeah, exactly. I was going to keep rolling until I get to
the door.
Eventually, the door is a mimic and kills you all when that happens.
Perfect.
And none of you you're aware of travelling traders, and the name talk does line up with that, but you're struggling to pull details.
Okay.
What race is Torg?
Elf.
What, sorry?
Elf.
Elf.
You just pulling that as a random guess, or
I didn't know if
The
Hannah
DM
was
is
asking or
smart, she's a
Adri.
human.
DM1 and DM2.
bad quality cameras are interchangeable. It's weird.
We'll change them at the break, see what happens.
I'll go change t-shirt. I think I've got that t-shirt. I've got the same t-shirt as well. That'd be funny. But no, none of you are familiar with who or what Torg is. Other than that, she is a travelling trader of many years and seems to be in the same sort of struggle as every other trader in the area.
Grandma does talk Duggan's Hull.
She kind of double takes for a second, just kind of dismisses it as sure, why not? I imagine so. Like, I think she goes to all the villages. She was here a few days ago. That's what I'm saying. Any of the towns that have these damn lotteries for the sacrifices, and someone ends up going missing, and that caravan seems to be in that place at that time. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I bet it was her.
Sounds like it.
Just a little bit.
Doesn't make sense.
If we find the person doing the murders, do we get paid? Like, is there a reward?
I ain't got any money to pay you.
Not you. You clearly don't have any money. Like a sheriff or a militia or somebody must want these murders sorting out.
I can pay you 2 gold if you find the murderer.
Done.
Fantastic. You, sir, deal.
I don't understand.
Oh.
I really need to find these murderers, and I appreciate any help.
Murderers?
Well,
Adri says a little bit too loudly and catches herself, and she's like, oh, wait, oh.
I think it was either many people, or it was one big person or powerful person.
Do you think they were separate attacks by separate people, or by the same people for the same motive, per se?
What's the motive?
Who of these is most important to you? What's in it for you?
There was a 4th murdered.
Who's there now?
4th? Says Hilna.
Yes, my mentor, mother, if you will, Naris.
All right. That seems a
I'm
little
very
more reasonable
sorry
than
for
to
your
look for them.
She was murdered whilst I was out, and I believe the murderers might have taken something. Were any of the other murderers, murdered dead people?
Excellent. Good work.
Yorkshire.
Were they missing anything?
Do I look like a detective? I don't know.
Well, who was the one that reported the murders?
I don't know.
So
Gossip
really,
travels, stories told. When people start turning up dead in the street, word travels fast.
we can't even trust the information that you're giving to us because it's all Chinese whispers, and actually, it's just
I mean-
gossip at the end of the day.
We're pretty
Pretty
sure
much.
I'm pretty sure they're dead.
Yeah,
They are
but-
dead, and I'm sure that Elkis wouldn't obviously lie about his mentor being murdered. And if he feels like it's connected to the current streak of murders in the area, then obviously I feel like I will aid you in finding who has done this, or the group of people that has done this, because it was someone that was close to you. And I remember you coming and asking me about it weeks ago. So.
So we don't investigate it. I'm just saying, how can we take the word of this one over here, not Elkis, obviously, when actually it's all just hearsay? I believe Elkis more than anyone else, and maybe we need to do our own investigations, otherwise we're going to jump to conclusions, and then before you know it, actually we've arrested the wrong person. Nothing's got to do with it, because none of these murders actually make sense.
I put an arm onto Adri's shoulder and be like, you got this. It's okay.
She
Very good train of thought, but
visibly tenses up, and she's like, "Ugh, physical contact, no!" She doesn't
Stabs
know
you
what to
in
do.
the head.
just
A
gently.
fist-
I noticed
fist
the
kind of
tension.
clench.
Grandma,
on my arm.
3 months ago.
As there is definitely not a small dagger in her hand.
I'm cute as a cucumber. I'm used to people pulling and throwing stuff at me. It's fine. Just pull back and be like, sorry. But yeah, as I said,
Not like the council of speakers are doing anything about it. They don't care if a bunch of us townsfolk are missing. They're more worried about locking themselves up in their townhouses and their castles and saving their own hides. They've got money and they've got food. What do they care if we go missing?
How much are they getting of our taxes?
Depends how much taxes you pay, doesn't it?
Do
She
pay
gives
your
you a
taxes?
little. She gives you a little elbow nudge.
Is she wearing any
Yes.
jewellery?
Perception check.
Tax.
Fucking nat 20. So
Yay!
22.
Keep thinking in my head,
Wasted, man.
Goliath,
Wasted.
AD must be a barbarian. Has no perception whatsoever. Like in my head, you can't be a rogue. It just doesn't. It just won't go in.
Wait till we hit combat, mate.
Oh god! Sneak attack. She's got a modest wedding band and a few sort of trinkets, but nothing that nothing of silver or gold, nothing valuable as such. A few keepsakes, but nothing. Yeah, nothing with financial value to them at least.
Oh. You may carry on.
What you're saying is nothing worth stealing.
I never
Unless you
said
get
that.
off on emotional fuckery. Like,
It's session 1. You can't murder a grandma and rob her.
Watch me.
Yeah, it's just
He said he was
said
going
it
to
now.
challenge accepted.
I need to use my sneak attack.
Roll initiative.
I'll definitely not see that coming.
Sneak attack. Headbutt in the face.
Anyway,
Look, if you lot are this little one over here, if he's got reason to do it, you know, if he's already lost someone he cares about, how long before one of you ends up in a target? You know, it's been going on for weeks now. It's
I
council.
mean, honestly, if it was anybody else, I probably wouldn't care, but because it is somebody close to him, and that's a little bit of a different story.
I mean,
I'm in.
you never know. It's one of the speakers might give you some coin for your trouble. Doubt it. Bunch of tight bastards.
It's not necessarily about the coin, though, is it? Someone close to Elkis has been murdered. And it's, you know, we're all able and capable of helping him, so.
Will you join our party, Grandma? Help us find them.
I think my days of travelling have long gone, dearie.
Oh,
This weather
so
doesn't
sad.
do my knees any good.
I thought, Jesus, I thought that I was not very charismatic, but just straight up calling someone grandma when you don't even really know them. Oh,
I did
that went a
introduce
lot
her
better.
as the grandma of the village, the grandma of the town.
The town that none of you are from.
It's endearing.
Just
Does
saying,
Nan
brave,
sound cuter?
very brave.
I think if it came from anyone else, it wouldn't be cute. But it's from the 3-foot goblin with purple hair. Like,
We have to catch murderers then.
I mean,
Oh,
I
so-
certainly am.
We've got 2 gold to earn.
Is this dog really worth looking at? Or is grandma a bit senile?
Oh,
She's
no,
definitely
she's-
senile.
She might not be 100% there, but if there's a rumour or gossip in the town, she knows it and she will bank that information
Ah,
and pass
look,
it on to whoever she can.
I'm all spent up and empty, dear. It's enough for me for today. Look, if you're gonna go out there, try not to get yourselves killed. Don't want to see anyone else in the street. Look, so that dwarven fellow found himself murdered last couple of days. He used to work at the blacksmiths. Might want to,
Just to speak
ask-
to him.
have a chat up there, see if they know out. Other than that, just shrugs. Your guess is
Thank
as good
you.
as mine.
At the end of the day, the more people that are murdered, the less chance of possible work for most of us.
She'll get up and pull her cloak off, and she'll make her way with slow, shuffly steps, make her way out of the tavern, and she will leave the building.
Down my mead.
I'll follow with me hood up.
Can I aid her to the door and sort of open the door for her and stuff and kind of look after her as she exits?
I'm just gonna sit there and wait. What's the move, Elkis?
Well, I think it's this Tog, I guess, or anybody around the blacksmiths.
What's closest?
Do we know?
Don't know where Torgs is. Torgs is a travelling merchant. There is a town centre where markets typically happened. A few shops do still rock up in the town centre of Brinshandar, but for the most part, most open markets have closed in the last couple of years, in the last year or so. Yeah, Torgs travels around. You wouldn't know where it is, and it doesn't just travel around town. It travels around the towns, as it were. The blacksmith is fairly close. You are at the north look, which is right there by the north gate. The Black Iron Blades is the blacksmith, and that is towards the centre of town, just shy of the market district.
Or we could head to the blacksmith, and I believe there's a marketplace that it might be worth trying just on the off chance that Torg is there, but we know where the blacksmith is, so.
Can easily split up when we get there.
Good idea.
Split the party, split the party. Nothing bad happens.
It might be a good idea if someone else speaks. People don't seem to like me very much.
I'm pretty good at speaking.
Yeah, I can
Are you
tell.
sure you'll be telling the truth? They've been telling the truth to you, or just out of straight fear telling them some any kind of question to you?
Potato, tomato.
I doubt I'll be any good at speaking to people with 2 gigantic swords strapped to my side,
fantastic.
but I'll give it a try.
I'm happy to help talk to people, but obviously if Gentle Steps wants to speak to them, I'm all for it.
They sound nice.
Who am I speaking to?
So, what are you guys? Are you heading out? What's the plan?
Following the goblin.
Strong plan.
He is the leader of the party now.
Strong plan.
2 gold leader.
This is all about him right now. Not gonna lie.
Terrifying plan. Strong.
He will be known forevermore as 2G.
Is that the precursor to 3G?
My 2 gold, mother kipper.
He ranks up, you can get a hell of a network.
Pull my mask back up, shrug my furs up, and head out into the afternoon.
I'll stand.
I will chug whatever I had in my tankard.
Milk.
Because I'm totally not an alcoholic. But...
I go marching off down to the blacksmith.
All right, you head out and you're reminded once more of just how goddamn cold it is. Like the door opens and just you start feeling like the end of your nose. Or in your case, Elkis, it's probably a goblin nose. I imagine fairly blessed in that department of nose and ears.
Yeah.
You feel the bite of the cold kicking in.
I'm wearing my mask under my nose.
It just sticks out. Yeah, and you like it's lightly snowing. It's just this grey, overcast, and then the occasional orangey flickers of the lights from the lanterns. It's pretty quiet out. It's getting towards like late mid-afternoon. You guys will know I use the word daylight. Day darkness typically kicks in mid-morning until mid-afternoon, and then it's just night for the other 20 hours or 18 hours. It has been for years.
Cool.
Yeah. Don't even look behind me. Just march off, get down the street, and then look. Have they followed me?
You see the most power walks of power walks as this goblin, with a sense of purpose, hammer, just stroll southward out of the tavern.
I will deliberately walk at his pace.
Effortlessly. For you, it's probably I wouldn't say it's a casual stroll. You haven't put a bit of work in.
I'm shuffling.
Yeah. You're stopping to have a look round, do your shoelace.
It's more tiring to walk at his pace than it is just like jogging or something.
I got kids, I know how this works.
Oh dear. Okay, you make your way down to the south, down the main road, and Brinshandar everything converged on this market, which up until recent events was kind of the heart of the town. And as you approach, it's kind of that reminder of it's just a little bit of a solemn sight. You see kind of the power, like where the wooden shop fronts were, where the frames where people would go up and set up shop, hitching posts. There's some abandoned old tent canvases that are scrappy and kind of weather worn. And it's just this sad abandoned market. There's kind of layer of frost over everything. It just kind of, those who've been to the town before, like you remember what like the hustle and bustle of this place, and it used to be the heart and soul. And after work or when you come in trading, like you could always find dancing and music and drinks and food, and street food was freshly cooked and things like that. And it's just this almost ghost town kind of feel to it. As you kind of see it, probably a couple of 100 feet off toward the edge of the road, as you do pull up alongside the Black Iron Blades, which is a single-story smithy.
Is the door open?
Welcome.
Nope, door is closed.
I knock.
You hear a couple of clangs and tools being set down, and eventually the door is opened. And you inside is.
Welcome.
It is a human, male, quite slight build. What you imagine a blacksmith to be. Looks quite wiry. There's not an inch of fat on him, but he's probably about 5'8", kind of brown hair. It's the kind of soot-stained look of a blacksmith. Cares more about getting work done than necessarily keeping the grime off of them. Big, heavy leather gloves, and kind of these big, like almost like a fur cloak that's sleeveless. That kind of comes down to these big leather gloves, big goggles on. It's like sheen of these like dark coloured lenses in them. And opens the door. Can I help you?
I'm Gentle Steps. Put my hand out.
Yeah, good to meet you. What can I do for you, Gentle Steps?
My boss here, and I point down at Elkis. Some people have been stabbed and died, so we're looking into it.
Yeah, I've heard about that. Terrible.
Do you know all about it?
Only what I've heard.
What have you heard?
One of our interns, Prentice, has got himself killed a couple of nights back. Sorry to hear about it, but no to do with me.
Got himself killed or somebody killed him?
There's a difference.
Well, the one is he killed himself, and the other one is someone else killed him.
I don't know. Comes here, does his day's work, and heads off for the evening.
What was his
So
name?
That's a good question. Brannock.
Brannock. I look at this lot, see if Brannock rings a bell.
None of you know. You recognise the name. None of you will know him personally. You know him as a glassblower. He worked in and out of a couple of smithies across towns, and recently at this one, and is responsible for a lot of repairs or new glass casings for a lot of the oil lamps that are used in the towns. Kind of the go-to is kind of the one thing he's known for making. None of you necessarily need to buy one or know him as such. You just know that's what he did.
Where did he get killed?
In town somewhere, I think.
An apprentice of yours dies and you have no idea where he was killed.
Do you know what everyone you know gets up to outside the work?
Only the ones that work for me.
I'll keep tabs on him when he leaves. Comes in, he makes his lamps and leaves his stuff and heads out for the night. Yeah, don't follow him home, do I?
Can I just, if I may, what was the last job that you remember him doing? What was his last something that he made? Did he have any private work that he did the last time you saw him before he died?
Kind of rubs the side of his face, and it's like a couple of smear marks of more soot and grime as go up down his cheek. I think you were doing more than these lamps, and he points to a couple. I mean, every now and again they either blow out from the heat or they get caught in a blizzard and they get damaged, and he just keeps churning them out as far as I'm aware.
Is that the lamps for around the town, not for anyone specific? He wasn't doing any kind of commission work or anything like that?
He's done it in the past. He's made a few for some of the speakers, some of the nicer houses, some of the taverns, but none out of the ordinary. He's been doing it a couple of years out in Goodmead, I think, and then he's been with us last year or so. Said it's a better business, better workshop for him, and yeah, he just kind of gave us a bit of coin for use of the space and got on with it.
Would you have any objection to us looking round the space that he worked? We're just trying to sort of get to grips with what's happening here in the hope of finding out some more information.
I mean, knock yourselves out. I've nothing to do with this.
Thank you.
Enough to worry about my own doorstep without killing people who make me money. He'll step back and push the door open.
Now, seeing as to how Celine has her sharp weapons, how well does she know this smith? Has she used him before?
Potentially, he's not known as a particularly good smith, more of a quantity over quality sort of business. As you enter the premises, you do see rows of functional but not the prettiest kind of the equivalent of like factory-made, mass-produced sort of stuff. Roll a history check for me.
History, what am I looking at for history?
So it'd be your...
Oh, there it is. So, -1.
Intelligence.
7.
You don't remember. You may have used the blacksmith. It might have been one you've used in the past. You remember a couple of jokes from a couple of times you've been out on missions where if someone gets themselves killed or their weapons fail, people used to joke, I bet they had one of those black iron blades. It's kind of got a bit of a bit of a laughing stock about. None of the more serious adventurers would kind of trust their lives with his equipment. He's more just makes it and churns it out.
So because of that, how much do I actually trust anything that he has said so far?
Yeah. Make an insight check.
Do I say, oh, it's shiny?
Make a perception check.
I'm not joking.
No, that's
For God's sake.
It is.
Just 11.
Fucking...
Okay, on an 11, he seems reserved, but you have just rocked up to his house and start questioning him, but he doesn't seem to be... He's not being necessarily forthright with you, but he hasn't lied to you either. He's kind of a guarded more than anything else. You get a nat 20 on your perception?
22, mate. I've had a nat 1 and 2 nat 20s. I mean...
He's
Strong
got that
start.
D20 with 20 on every side.
It's like going downhill from here on, people.
Yeah.
Where
Start
we
the average is strong.
It's that day.
You kind of look around. You see. I mean, most of your weaponry is kind of made with like a stone and a bit of metal, and you've made it the good old
stone.
Yeah, you've made it the good old-fashioned way, but it's made to last, and you know what I mean. You know what you're doing, and you're not that you don't see the nonsense for all this fancy technology. But a lot of stuff in here doesn't really strike. It's not impressive to you. Like it's not got any of that homemade feel or craftsmanship into it. On a 22, not 20, but you do notice.
I hate my life.
I hate your life too. Don't worry. Right at the very back, on a dresser, does appear to be a sizable glint of coin on the back dresser, and it only strikes you as interesting because no one has coin in this recently, and it's very unusual for people to be having gold. A lot of people have spent on food and used their savings. There seems to be a little bit of gold in there. Looks like it's coming to somebody.
Smithy, you want to hide your money, mate? Someone will nick that.
Yeah, noted. So I just go through some finances. I don't normally leave it out.
Have you been having decent trade?
Not particularly. Just do a bit of work on the side. A few people looking for lodgings, things like that. People relocating. You know, trying to make ends meet in these times. You know how it is.
With my knowledge of the area and sort of knowing what goes on and stuff, can I insight check that to make sure he's being honest?
Yes, you may.
Yeah, the whole relocation stuff in this time is kind of dodgy.
Yeah, I don't think many
And
people
so
are
says
moving.
chat.
18 plus 4, 22.
As he's talking, you see him glancing around. He does look uncomfortable. You want no what he said. He said with kind of confidence and doesn't suggest that he's misleading you. He just seems a little bit uncomfortable with being questioned about it, and yeah, he's not necessarily open to the conversation. He's a little bit guarded.
I just look at Elkis really subtly and make eye contact, just sort of shake my head once. And
Wink one for no and three for suspicious.
Literally just.
Blacksmith looks pretty sus.
Do you know where Brannock lives?
I mean,
Once lived.
Came here for good mead about just shy of a year ago. Put him up, got him a room at one of the taverns down in the south quarters. He paid us a bit of money, and I got him somewhere to stay, keep his head down.
It's gravy time.
I wonder, can we get to this room somehow? Has it been cleaned out, do you know? Or are his stuff's belongings still there?
Now, that place has waited for his cold before they went and emptied that room out. Plenty of people looking for cheap rooms. People have been turned out of their houses, can't afford lodgings. The cheap places are all filled up. You know what towns like these, sort of people live in these parts. If someone's dead, doesn't take long before it's fair game.
Kept any of his stuff, or was it all tossed out?
He's got some of his tools, I guess, but he doesn't really keep any of his personal things here.
So they're gone. Nothing to check out.
Yeah, he got out of good mead pretty sharpish and came here, didn't bring a lot with him.
Do you know anything about his life in Goodmead? What was it like before he worked with you?
Didn't know him that well, to be honest with you. Far as I'm aware, he wanted to get out of Goodmead, said it weren't good for him up there anymore, and he wanted to get his head down, make some honest work down these parts.
You want to spend some of that gold?
Anything other than food and lodging seems pretty foolhardy in these times.
That's a lot of gold for food and lodgings.
2 years without any decent trade, or everything's it's only getting worse.
2 years without decent trade, and you made that amount.
So as they're chatting, I'm waltzing around just very slowly, just kind of eyeing on stuff. Do I notice anything just out of place?
Make an investigation check.
Investigation, I tell you.
Investigation.
You see some cobblestones and a loaf of
Wait.
bread.
16.
Bread and dripping on plate. 16.
16, yeah.
We'll be serious for half an hour and then block one day. Nothing looks out of place. It looks like a blacksmith. There isn't anything that jumps out at you. There's nothing that catches your attention. The gold seems out of place, but nothing. Not so much that it's out, just more. It's a sizable amount of gold. None of you have seen that much gold in at least 12 months.
No, so it's just kind of bags or anything that might not belong to the blacksmith. Anything kind of sitting around underneath the table somewhere.
On 16.
It's kind of sticking.
Nope.
Damn. Tried.
Well, yeah.
One floor.
Yeah, single story building, yeah. But what are you lot asking questions around Brannock for anyway?
Well,
You knew him, did you?
Well, he died and he worked for you, so we asked you.
Makes
And
sense.
clearly you don't know too much about him, so it's more of our concern right now, so.
Look, I did the work for him. He wanted to get out of... He wanted to make himself scarce for a bit, so gave him somewhere to work and sort him out somewhere to live. He paid me handsomely for it, made sure he had somewhere out the way, and left him to it. Didn't ask many questions.
Brannock
You
paid you.
don't know anything about his history.
Didn't ask questions. Don't know if you ever done this line of work when you're looking at helping people out. You know, not everything's done on books. You know how it is doing trading. So we're not
Have questions when there's gold involved.
exactly. You get it.
Did he ever explicitly say, you know, if anyone asks for me, don't tell them I'm here?
I mean, that was pretty implied when he said he wanted to lay low. I think, miss.
Smart.
Look, I'm good at what I do. If someone wants to give me a bag of gold and find me somewhere to live and somewhere to lay low, I'm not going to go around parading it around the taverns, am I?
Not really, no.
Do you have any other staff?
Say again.
Do you have any other staff? Anybody? Do you know if any were close to anybody?
It's just me and Brannock when he used to work.
Have you replaced him at all yet? Or is it just you here now?
No. I mean, more out of the blacksmithy work. There's not many glass blowers in these parts. So as far as I'm aware, he's the only one who did what he did. I only, like, say, took him on out of convenience. He wanted to use a bit of workshop space and make a bit of a living. Like, I had the space, why not?
Do we need to stay, boss?
Say again, sorry.
I'm talking to Elkis. Do we need to stay? Or do I need to stay?
I can't think of much else. I'm a bit concerned that these rooms already been cleared and his stuff got rid of. I wonder
Do you
if
have his previous address, sorry?
it was in the south area, around the southern tavern. What's the name of the tavern?
Don't know. It's just one south wall next to church.
You've got in the lodgings and you don't know what it's called.
I just know a guy who knows a guy who has some places down there for rent.
You a dodgy blacksmith.
Well, you
Dodgy bloke
outsider, you've
altogether.
never done any dodgy work.
Never said you do dodgy work. I just said you're dodgy.
Make ends meet in this town.
I flick one of his swords. Does it sound dodgy?
These towns it makes the most hollow, dull, cheap thing you've heard in your life. Like, you're surprised that have Made in China stamped on the
What's China?
Made in Everon.
China?
But no, it wouldn't be Everon. Fantastic. You thrown me. Wait. What did
Is
you
it down
ask?
near
What
the
did you ask
stable somewhere by any
downstairs?
chance?
Oh, dodgy blacksmith. That's it. Look, you make ends meet, right? Life gets tough. This whole town's founded on thieves and murderers and bandits who wanted to flee the state below. You know, want to get out of Neverwinter and make things quiet. Look, the town's never been better for it until recently. Granted,
Are you a thief or a killer?
done some stuff I'm not proud of in the past, but I'm a blacksmith.
You can't just ask questions like that.
No one ends up at this town for the scenery or the weather. Let's be fair.
I quite like
I'll
it.
just whisper back to her, watch me.
It's quite warm round
I
here.
am one with the snow.
I'm doing angels.
I mean, to be fair, you are a Goliath. You care very little about the cost. You're in a t-shirt.
It's like Barbados round here, mate.
T-shirt and shorts. T-shirts and shorts.
The Goliath equivalent of he is definitely not wrapped up as much as the rest of you are.
Every so often, he'll throw on a hoodie.
Socks and
It's
sandals,
feeling
mate. Socks and sandals.
Oh God, no.
Oh, it's big coat weather now. It's kicking in.
Get the big coat out.
Get the big coat out.
Plate armoured sandals.
Yeah.
Anybody else see anything around before? I think we should just kind of mosey on and see if we can find anything around the center, if there's any people walking around. Just nonchalantly, in a very polite way, ask them where are some of the shadiest probably places that somebody can stay, or if they know anything about the guy. Maybe they've seen him walk into one of these
Not
taverns.
many people around. Like,
Ugh.
there's a few people scuttling about wrapped up, but for the most part, with the market area kind of shut up shop and the weather conditions, people are either in a tavern or at home, and no one has money to spend to be out.
With my history, would I know any of the shadier places to lay low and not get seen?
Make a history check. You're all a bunch of shady motherfuckers.
24.
Excuse me.
Christ. Certain towns are more shady than others, genuinely speaking. Kerkonig and Cerdinaval tend to be fairly ropey for those who don't know the area. And Durgan's Hole is a hole. Like, generally, it's an absolute shit hole, for lack of a better phrase. Like, that's where the roughest people tend to live, and it's generally the more ostentatious traders, the more well-off, tend to avoid it and stick to the larger walled towns.
And which one of those is closest to a church?
Oh, that's in towns. You mean in the city?
Yeah, in the city. That's what I mean.
Most of the area, Brinshandar's by 10 town standard is fairly good. It's as upmarket as you tend to get. It's not necessarily as fancy as East Haven, but it's probably the second nicest. None of the areas are. I mean, the level of quality is still pretty bad across all of it by their standards. It's all right.
Okay.
There aren't any particularly bad areas of town. Just everything kind of sits at a solid 6 out of 10 on a good day anyway.
Okay. So, which of the places is dodgiest that's closest to the church?
There's a few like in residential areas. There's a few taverns down there that act as kind of like just regular inns. There's nowhere that really jumps out at you. So, that's where all the scumbag go. Well, that's where the dodgy area is. Like, none of it's any dodgier than the Northlook that you're in earlier.
Okay. Would I know the names of any of these taverns?
You're not from Brinshandar.
Ooh, intriguing.
No, not necessarily. You'd know of Tavern. You
Okay.
wouldn't know any of them. But yeah, the Northlook's the one that typically you've passed just because you normally come in from the north side back to East
Okay.
Haven. But Brinshandar's not somewhere you tend to come in, do your day's
Frequent.
trading, and head back out. You're not the most
Okay.
social of people in the world.
Okay, there was. Okay, Kara.
If no one's out and about, I think the tavern's his best bet.
Tavern
I
Huff.
agree.
If you ever pass time, let's go.
Look, what are you never answer. Why are you guys investigating this? Like,
Because he's going to pay me 2 gold if we find the murderer, which I did mention. You dodgy Smith.
We have a personal interest.
Personal, monetary, hand in hand. The more that die, the less I
look,
make.
When he's asking, is he asking out of curiosity or is he asking out of panic?
make an insight check.
I would if I could find insight. There we go. 16?
he doesn't seem panicked. It's just more, I guess, curiosity about what your goals are in this.
Okay, cool.
Look, Brannock's not been the only person to die in these towns. Come here and thinly veiled suspicion at me all you want. You know, he's just
People are dying. There might be more.
Riz is a third murder in as many weeks.
Do you know anything about the other murders that you could share with us?
One was up in East Haven. I say up. One was. Where are we? We are. Yeah,
The Vale.
over at
Getting the plot.
East Haven. Forget the geography. He's out across to East Haven. One of the shipwrights he turned up apparently a couple of weeks ago, and before that up in Targus.
Sorry, a shipwright, you said. Do you have a name?
Someone who worked at the docks, didn't we? You know how rumours get round. Like, one person and winding up dead, no massive cause for concern around these parts, you know that, but 3 show up, starts raising a bit of suspicion, people start sharing stories, and seems to be following a bit of a trend.
Do you know how they died?
As far as I'm aware, they got stabbed. That's what folk are saying anyway.
Very simple way to go.
Look, if you leave me alone and keep my name out of it, there was some other folk asking around it not too long ago.
What's
Did
there
Other
now?
murders?
Yeah, well, one of the murders as such is asking about Brannock and asking what he was up to. There was this, didn't get his name. I met him in Northlook outside. He stopped me and asked me what work I did. And I thought he was wanting to get relocated as well and looking to get out of some of the rougher towns folk are doing. You know what it's like. I mean, it's not too bad here, but in some of the northern towns, like, you know, like the sacrifices, like round here we do the monthly lights off and try and appease the gods or whatever nonsense the speakers come up with. Some of the more fringe towns are giving up more than just their warmth and light, they're giving up people. Not everyone's alright with that. A few people are wanting to get out of them towns. That's where I've come in. Make a bit of coin and get them relocated. And they lay a low head, keep some
Are you witness protection?
out at lotteries. Something along those lines, like, yes, I won't go that far. It's more someone gives me some gold and they need somewhere to stay, not ask questions. That's it.
That person could have been rolling in the wrong circles with this sacrifice malarkey that you're talking about. Human sacrifice, I'm assuming.
Just showing the only other person who was asked about Brannock was this tall chap, young, wrapped up, same as anyone else. Like these, just saw his eyes, like these big blue eyes, and just asked what Brannock was around, and I said I didn't know him, and that he worked for me, but other than that, I didn't really know him, and he went on his way, I guess.
Was this before or after he died, can I ask?
Before, this is when he was working for me. I thought we were after.
Oh.
I thought he was looking for relocation himself, or he was looking for some work from him. I don't know, get some lance made. Yeah.
Brannock never mentioned the lottery by any chance. He never mentioned, out of any kind of panic, maybe he skipped out in the lottery.
I don't know. You have to ask him, I guess. Don't know what he's up to. Don't know if he's local. I've not seen him.
I mean, the dead guy might have skipped out in lottery. What was his name?
Brannock.
Yeah, Brannock.
Brannock is the. I mean, maybe. I don't know. It's.
Kind of can't ask him if he's dead now, can I?
I don't really go to good mead, to be honest. It's one of those places, like I say, if they start sending people out into the snow to try and appease gods, I don't want to risk my chances. I'd rather stay here and deal without the lights on for a day. I can see why people would want to get out of town, but to be honest with you, paid well and I did what I needed. Gave him somewhere to stay.
Did this gentleman that was asking about Brannock have any more distinguishing features that you could tell us that might help us recognise him? You said he had very blue eyes. What colour skin did he have? Do you have any idea what kind of race?
Looks human to me.
Human.
Furs on, I guess.
Not
Kind
unusual for
of like the big guy here, only not as big. Like, he had his furs on, but they weren't as like thick and heavy duty as this little chap's. Like, I don't know.
So human-ish, but larger and very bright blue eyes.
Yeah.
Do you speak common?
Yeah, it's very common.
Any accent?
Standard for these parts.
Welsh.
I'm sure he will have an accent.
What accent will you choose?
Weird question.
All of you just assume I planned that.
Weird question. What colour was his tongue?
Right, it's a weird question.
What were you doing in
If
his
you-
mouth?
If you can recall, you know.
Can't say I took much notice, to be honest.
So while you were talking to him, you weren't paying attention to what he was saying?
No, I wasn't staring into his mouth. I was working.
What colour's your tongue?
Nothing.
Tongue coloured.
It's a good colour.
I'm gonna stare at everyone's tongue now.
Yeah, I don't know what. Look, I don't know what things you're mixed up into or what this is about. But look, I've told you what I know. People are winding up dead. People are asking questions around it. I don't want my name involved.
Gold piece.
Oh.
I don't think we ever got your name, sir. So,
Dodgy Smith.
Dodgy Smith.
Look, take some coin on the side to help people lay low, right? I know it's frowned upon by the speakers and people are meant to stay in their towns, but can't hardly blame Brannock if he thought his name was going to come out and he wanted to not have to. Not
Can I have one of them coins to keep your name out of it?
Read my mind.
Make a persuasion check.
Oh God, no. 2 minus 1, so that'll be a 1.
Look, everyone's got.
Damn it! I was going to ask that question too afterwards.
Speakers have got enough going on with trade drying up, people starving to be worried about me shipping people around. Tell them if you want. They ain't got the resource to deal with anyone being killed, let alone somebody smuggling people across towns.
That is a very good point, Dodgy Smith.
Smuggler? Not heard that word been brought up yet.
I look at Elkis.
I think we can drain this out of information.
Yeah, I think we're done here.
Look, as much as I appreciate 21 questions, I got work to get done. If you,
I have one last question. Just one. Your friend that sorted out accommodation, is there any way that I can get in touch with him? Because it looks like we're going to be here for a while, and at this point, we need somewhere to lay low.
I mean, it was an absolute shithole. Best place to stay is up at the North. Look, if you're staying here for the night, it's pretty decent. It's cheap. The owner, he's.
I don't think we care about it being decent. I think what we actually care about is getting answers. And if people are going to try and come and look for us because we're asking the wrong questions, like with yourself, we're going to want to stay low. So now, tell us where your friend is so that we can go and get the same accommodation that your previous apprentice did.
Make a persuasion check.
Yeah.
Guys, Adri's getting confident.
No one
19.
knows.
Look, that accommodation, it's not exactly on grid for people to rent. It's just a single mattress on the floor in a room.
Sweet, a single mattress will do. Now hurry up.
I don't know who else needs to be resourced. You've had enough information out of me. Look up.
I don't think we have, as I pull the dagger from my side and my eyes start to glow green.
Hey, whoa.
Takes a step back. It's like,
There's no need for that,
You'll
Adri.
you come here asking about murders and pull a knife on someone.
Yeah, because there's obviously something you're hiding. Because all we're asking is a couple of questions about your apprentice that you don't seem to care has actually been murdered. Because you don't mind if the next person walks in here, and we'll quite happily cover them for them for just a bit of gold. So who else is buying your word?
I don't care if a guy died. Did I get on with him? Yeah, it worked for me, sure. Did I love the guy? Hardly. He worked for me. Is it sad that he's dead? Yeah. Do I care? Not really.
You're not intrigued at the fact that there were 2, 3, maybe a couple of other people that are asking about this person because he skipped out of town, and you're not somewhat intrigued to find out what's gone on. How much did they pay you? I'll only want anything.
The less I know, the less questions
Because
are gonna
that,
asked.
just like my friend Gentle Steps here said, that's a lot of gold sitting on your counter, and that's not just for taking someone in to keep a little bit of hush hush.
There's a lot of gold.
I'm
Make
just
an
standing there with a big grin on my face.
Make an intimidation check.
Good, because I got +5 on it. Come on, don't do me dirty. 25!
Not 20.
So, you going to give us some answers or not?
Sorry, he rolled a 26.
Please don't have on a 26! I can't go any harder than a 25! I'm impressed I managed to get a nat 20.
Look, alright, that fella who was asking questions, he gave me a bit of gold to let him know what Brannock was up to and why he left Goodmead. I didn't tell him where we were living or anything like that, alright? He just wanted to know why he was trying to skip town. I just figured it's because he was trying to do the same.
And why was he trying to skip town?
To get away from this damn lottery. Like, there's not many people who live up in those towns. Not as big as this place. There's only a couple of hundred there. And even then, out of everyone who's gone missing or died, there can't be that many people around. And you're willing to risk your name coming out one of 100? Bet all the speakers and all the rich folk don't put their names in.
Probably not.
I've got nothing else to lose. If my name goes into a fucking lottery, it goes into a lottery.
He came asking questions and asked what Brannock was up to and why he fled town. He gave me some money for it, and I took it because times are tough, you know.
But he didn't give you money to keep your mouth shut, so what's the point of not telling us?
Told you, Anna, now. Just, people start asking questions about someone who ends up dead, the more people start asking questions. Learn to keep your mouth shut.
Turns
The
out
questions that were asked. What?
Turns out a lot of people have been asking you some questions, and you're getting paid a lot of gold to answer said questions. So obviously your loyalties don't lie anywhere. So what's the difference between telling them what you know and telling us?
A sack of gold, usually.
How much would it cost?
How much you got?
I'll let you keep
How
it
much
if you
would it
tell
cost?
us.
I've told you what I know, right? This guy comes asking around. I tell him what Brannock's up to and why he left town. I didn't tell him where he was living. And a couple of days later, Brannock ends up stabbed in the street. You know, it's enough for anyone to keep their head down and mouth shut.
You're not even telling us where he's living, so what does it matter? If he's dead, you got nothing else to hide at this point. So why don't you just tell us where we lived?
It's just one of these old outbuildings around the back corner of Southern Taverns.
Which one?
It's called the Warrior. It's down on the south side. Look, the owner owes me a favour and he lets me stash people in the back and keep, you know, I pay him a couple of silver for the week and he lets people crash at the back. It's not glamorous, but it earns him some money on the side while tourism's down.
Now, how hard was that? I think we've got our answers. Let's go. As she then pulls up her cloak and goes to walk out the door.
I just look at me like, yeah, and walk out.
What she said.
Sorry, she's awfully awkward. And I walk out.
You will leave him?
Yeah, I'll be the last out the door and I'll just sort of nod.
So tempted to grab a coin and gold penny for our troubles, but no.
And as the last one of you crosses the threshold, you hear the door slam behind you. And we will take a break as you finish playing detective for a little bit. All right, guys. So, thank you very much, chat. Sorry, I've not kept up with too much stuff going in the chat. I need to see this conversation got pretty intense really quickly.
You've got a job
plenty
to do,
of people-
Jim. You don't need to worry about chat.
We've got plenty of people chatting. Thank you very much, guys, for your comments so far. Hopefully, you've enjoyed the first installments and introductions to our lovely cast and some interesting characters of the towns. I'm going to take a quick 10-15 minute tea break where cups of tea are mandatory. And then once we're fed and watered, we will jump back on in probably about 10-15 minutes' time. So chuck us your comments in. If you haven't already, please like, follow, subscribe to Heavyweight Gaming on the Twitch channel, on Facebook and YouTube. If you do have your Amazon Prime subscription, you do get a free subscription every month on Twitch. If you haven't already subscribed to a Twitch channel and you do have Amazon Prime, you can subscribe to this one absolutely free. No cost to yourselves, but it does help the channel out of us being able to continue to tell cool stories and roll dice throughout the week.
Break time.
Break time.
There you go, Roberto. You're good to go.
We're live. Hello, welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone else who is watching. So, thank you very much for sticking around. We are back for second session of episode 1 of Secrets We're Dying For, our campaign based on the Wizards of the Coast publication Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden. We've got a lovely bunch of colourful individuals. We've got
Coconuts.
our Goblin Goliath, Para Elves, and a human who are known as Tabaxi. I do apologise. Who have met under dire circumstances. Town that they're in has been plagued by a recent spree of killings. In this town, some of the other towns that make up 10 towns, the Confederacy within Icewind Dale, that has been plunged into darkness over the last year and a half, 2 years, through magics beyond the capability of our party. Times are tough, money is low, and people are getting desperate. And Elkis has met up with these people, convinced them to help him investigate, and they've started bouncing around town, asking some questions and seeing what's what. Just had a little bit of a conversation with the local blacksmith.
You can say
Between
that.
praise, threats, bullying, and whatever else, they've managed to get a little bit of a lead on a gentleman who was asking questions prior to Brannock's death, and an information about a shack that he used to rent out to kind of get people out of town to avoid lotteries that were held in 3 of the towns for effectively human sacrifices in order to try and appease the gods and try and dial back this winter. And that's where we broke up before the break. So you guys are outside of the black something. The name was that goddamn. I have so many tabs open.
Black Iron Blades.
That's the
Black
badger.
Blade,
Yes.
You've just left the Black Iron Blade. I did swap my t-shirt, AD. Should have swapped. Yeah, you left the Black Iron Blades. You're in the town. It's still this deserted, solemn, windswept, Arctic wasteland of a town where all the bustling trade and all signs of big social celebration and people making a living and money changing hands has all but stopped. And it's a bit of a shadow of its former self. You guys wrap up, you pull everyone with except the gentle step sort of pulls their collars up and braces against the wind. You're just like, yeah, it's fine. You start making your way southward towards the Warrior Tavern. You make your way to the Warrior Tavern. It is much, much smaller than the Northlook, which you were in earlier. It's a very, very modest building. It appears to be more almost somebody's house that's just been converted into a bar with a couple of tables rather than a proper inn as such. Not very particularly well signposted. Seems to be more like a dodgy B&B look about it than kind of like a commercial tavern, if that makes sense. Again, most of the towns are dodgy, but this just kind of looks a little bit more smaller in scale. Like someone's trying to make a few quid by selling some booze. Yeah, you're outside. You're in the cold. What are you doing?
We're going in.
Freezing.
We're going
we
to the
wanna-
Warrior.
That's
You're
that
outside
one.
the Warrior.
We're
That's
outside the Warrior.
that
Do we
one
want
right
to-
there.
Do we want to go in the front
Sorry.
door, or do we maybe want to look round? Because he said that he lived out the back. So do we want to go in the front, or
I can have a
you know.
cheeky sneak about back if you want. Pretty
just
good
to
at
see if
hiding.
there's, because the last person we stormed in their front door and started asking questions didn't seem to take too kindly to it. So
I look at Adri. Look back at the veil.
I look very uncomfortable about suggesting criminal activity, but
I don't. Go for it.
What are you guys up to then?
I'm off round back. I'm gonna
Right.
stealth, mother kipper.
Da, 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 da.
6'11", man mounted. What? Roll a stealth.
you
Stealth.
do not see Grog.
Please don't roll a natural 1.
I would like to sneak.
I would like to sneak using intimidation, please.
18 plus 7. 25.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus! What's happening?
You just fly. You just float like that.
I am
You
not
guys.
Grog.
As soon as the
Ballerina.
words have left his lips, he vanishes between the alleys and, vanishes into the shadows.
As if a building
Shall we-
itself has merged.
Where the f- did he go? Just looking around, like really confused.
What's the rest of you doing?
Heading in.
Okay.
I'll trail behind everybody and just look
Drink.
safe.
You head in. The bar is currently empty. There's a single human who is stood at the bar. Just kind of looks more surprised that anyone's in more than anything else. Can I help you?
I'm gonna go up to the bar. My head stood up. I'm just gonna quietly say, we're looking for a place to stay. A friend told us about this place and that you were able to get us a room for the night.
Someone's beat you to it, I'm afraid, miss. If a couple of miners are staying here the last couple of days, they've paid up for the end of the week. All full up, I'm afraid.
No problem. You don't happen to know of anywhere else so we could, stay quiet for a bit, do you?
Really? I mean, anywhere's as good as anywhere these days. Not too many townsfolk wandering around. The speakers seem to have bigger things to worry about than back alley dealings and what's going on. As long as you don't do what you're doing too loudly, no one's going to bother you.
We're not doing anything. We just need somewhere to rest our heads for a bit. What time are you open till tonight?
But how busy if it stays like it is, I'll be getting myself to bed before too long.
Do you mind if we stay until then? We just want to get in out
Knock
of the cold for a bit.
Knock yourselves out.
No problem. Thank you very much.
He holds his hand out. Name's Edron.
80.
Yeah.
God, that's not gonna get confusing at all, is it? You know, when I did the session 0, I should have said, please don't call your characters after people's real names.
Yeah.
I'll just
Never mind.
Gentle Steps just pokes his head out. Yeah. Marvelous.
But,
Please
Crisis.
don't, because you are the super stealth. Like, you need to get information. Please don't do that right now.
just yourself, or are you all in? You all inside the bar?
There's
Hey. He looks over and sees Elkis.
there's a few of us. We've got a friend that's going to be joining us later. We're not sure when though.
Can I be stood sort of in the doorway so I can still see outside?
I'd be on the bar. I need a drink, please.
If you're gonna stand in the doorway, Khalid's close the door. It's cold.
Yeah, sorry, of course, no problem. I'll
Yeah,
step
thanks.
in and shut the door.
Get any of you fine folk a drink?
Mead, please.
Just a mead, please. Thanks.
Celine wants all of it. Whatever you've got,
We
put
fight-
all of it in a glass.
It's gonna be 5 copper.
You're not here. Shut up.
It's 5
But-
copper a piece.
But AD is.
Put 5 gold.
Cool. You guys grab your drinks and get to a table. Meanwhile, back in the cowshed, things were piling up.
Yeah.
So, I was going to call you AD then. Come on, it's 10 o'clock on a Friday night, guys. And Hannah's called her character AD, just to make life easy for me. You make your way down the side of the alley and you drop back. It's kind of just like a bit of a storage area. There's some old, like, firewood that's buried under snow. You can see an area like old hitching posts. There's no animals that you can see. And you can see, like, it's kind of like a small barn / big shed. You can hear a bit of a commotion inside. There seems to be some people inside it. There's a few flickering lights, and you can hear some angry, kind of disgruntled voices seem to be blaming each other for something that's gone missing, but you're kind of up against the door outside.
In stealth mode, can I listen in on the argument?
You can make an investigation check.
Investigation.
That's as close as I can get. There's no listening in for roll.
17 plus 1, 18.
You
You can buy these wonderful parchment dice at Bardic Inspirations. Totally not loaded
They're
dice. I'm
guaranteed
buying more.
to ruin They ruin your DM's life by only rolling 20s at once. Shop now. You you hear the unmistakable but not going to be imitated accent of dwarves. The mining community up in Calvin's Cairn has a very distinct regional sound to it, and it's something that you pick up on, being a bit of a travelling trades type yourself. And the gist of the conversation you get is that they had to turn away from a shipment they were delivering back, or they were heading from the mine back to Brinshandar, and they had to abandon their shipment en route for whatever reason, and they're currently blaming each other, saying that they didn't set off early enough, or you didn't wear your snowshoes, and you got us lost, and they're just back and forth passing the buck.
I'll step out. Oh no, gentle steps. They're in the what?
The other room. You have to open a door to kind of...
I'll open the door. I will present myself to the dwarves.
Presented. All right. So you see 3 stocky figures, and they're kind of bundled up in their cold weather garb. There's a big pile of soaked through, still snow-covered cold weather gear, some snowshoes. You see 3 dwarves. They've got their picks fastened to their belts, and 2 of them have got dwarvish level of beardage going on.
Well, I'm immersed.
And one of them holds out a hand, big mitten on there.
Name's Gentle Steps. Some people call me Hannah.
Oh, fantastic. Hannah, that's your own fault. You really put yourself. Well met, I'm Haruna. And shakes your hand.
Aruna.
He's Haruna. Haruna.
Aruna.
Haruna.
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 These are my friends. That's Corix and that's Storm.
Corix and Storm. Pleased to meet you, Gentle Steps.
And mind if I ask what you're doing at our door?
Yeah, you were. I was here eavesdropping on you. I snuck in over at back while nobody heard me.
Yeah, what do you want to do with us?
Well, do you want your sled back? Or your wagon, or your cart, or whatever it is? You lot bitching about whose fault it is.
It's his fault, and he points over to
Yeah,
Corix.
all 3 of you are here, so it's all of your faults, isn't it, really? But if you give us a few gold, I'll get it back for you.
Not all of us are as built for these conditions, you know.
You're a dwarf. You were born for
Yeah.
these conditions. You've got to be ashamed of yourself. You speak to your mother with that mouth.
Still have to bundle up from the cold, unlike your types.
Hey! I'll let that one slide, wee man.
And here comes the racism.
It's implied. It's fine.
We'd
Your
like
Honour.
implied racism.
There we go. Twitch is banning me. Thanks for that, Rob.
Quick, put the wigs on so we don't like skinheads talking about racism. It's fine.
Rob,
We,
stop talking.
I mean, we're gonna head back out in the morning and get it. We're fine. We don't...
Then what are you whinging for? You all look like friends here.
Yeah, it's his fault. If he'd have not got us lost and kept it path, we'd have been back by now. We'd be happy as Larry and gold.
So why'd you leave it?
Because dark started cutting in and blizzard started picking
Scared of
up
the
and-
night?
You been out there in dark?
I have. Born and bred.
Good for you. We've got a bit more sense on our shoulders. Don't let ourselves getting eaten out there in the wilds.
Yeah, you're a bit... I won't eat you. Do you want help getting it back or what?
You offering?
Yeah, twice now.
I mean, the help wouldn't go amiss. Saves us the hassle.
Do you know about murders? As in going on, not the act of murder. I know you know about murders.
He takes a step back and his hand kind of goes towards his belt.
Don't worry, there's 3 of you, it's almost even odds.
What do you know about
Me.
murders?
You can be a bit more specific than that.
People have been stabbed round here on purpose and killed. Do you know what about it?
I know what a murder is. Yeah, that murder, yeah, someone killed somebody.
Don't ruin my floor, Jim.
It's a gentle stab.
Oh, God, that's fantastic. He's got mansplained what murder is. Oh,
Unsplained. You just Goliath-splained. what
Goliath
murder is.
explained what a murder is. Fantastic. Oh, Christ.
rogue-splaining murder.
Stick knife in him when they die. You need to do it.
Sneakily, stick knife in.
I mean, not much I've heard about it. What about you two? No. We work up in the cairn, the
You were
mines.
cupping?
We're not in town very often. We just come here to do some work with some gems and some jewels that we get out of the caves, and once they've been refined, we bring them down here. We trade them for meats and supplies and furs and tool handles and whatever else we need. We're bringing back this week's sled, and like I say, we thought we'd get our heads down here for the night and go back out in the morning and pick it up.
They're wearing out valuable, Jim. Does anything look shiny
Perception.
on them?
Perception.
Nope. Oh, 8.
No.
Beards.
You don't see anything. They're still pretty wrapped up. Like they're huddled around like a small kind of embery fire that they've kind of got going on, and they're still in full weather gear. They seem to be trying to dry out a lot of their furs and things that they're wearing.
Gemstones, you say?
Yeah. Well, normally what we do is we bring back iron from the iron mine, iron ingots. They're all refined up there, and we bring them back, and the sled gets it across the snow. It's not that difficult to pull it once you get it going, so it's the easiest way, just coming straight down the path from the cairn. Normally a couple of bits of gemstones and jewellery in there that we trade, nothing too fancy. I mean, if you're offering, if you can get the sled down to us, you can have whatever jewellery's on there, as long as we get the iron in. That's the important bit.
You on the time scale?
Be buried under snow if you leave it forever.
Sorry, I'm a big lad, I'll dig it out.
I mean, we were going to go first thing in the morning. If you want to make it worth your time, you may as well go before then. We'll do it ourselves otherwise.
Cool, and it's Matata is the name.
That's Haruna.
Haruna Matata, cool.
He swings, he pitches.
Cheers,
Haruna
Ruffworx.
Matata.
Cheers, Ruffworx. Reads me like a book. Right, well, I'll put it on my to-do list. I'm going to go kill a murderer. You three, don't be falling out.
I mean, we wouldn't have to fall out if you could steer.
I look at the person he's blaming for steering.
They just start arguing amongst themselves again, passing the blame between direction,
I
steering.
sort of raise my hand and then stealth out of there.
They're watching you at this point. Roll a stealth check, just goes.
11.
Stealths out, like.
Yeah, they watch you leave the room,
4
drop
plus
to a
7.
hunch, and just shimmy out of the door.
Closing the door like.
Look, and they shout after you. If you get the sled here, you let us know. We have morning. If we don't hear anything by then, we'll go out and get it ourselves.
I just put my head back round and be like, "Can you be quiet, please? I'm trying to leave quietly."
Whatever
You
you
shut your
say.
face and trying to be quiet.
And then I just close the door.
Okay.
And I'll head back round. I'll hop over the
Okay.
fence and back round.
You enter the tavern,
I will be, yeah.
and the door swings open, and you see the sights that your friends have seen.
Well, this is a shithole.
Before he, as I'm still standing by the
You can
door.
always
before,
leave and find another shithole.
before he
Be
gets
ever
all the way
tactful.
in.
I'll leave when this lot leave. Hey, Will.
Hello.
Is the friend you're on about?
Oh,
Yes.
I'm a friend. Yeah, it is.
I got you a drink.
Cheers, boss. I'll take the drink. And I'll pour it into my oversized wooden
It
tankard.
fills about half of it. It's like pouring like a normal cup in like a Sports Direct coffee mug.
Yeah.
Just call the barkeep over for another.
Yeah, he keeps them coming as long as you're paying.
So what did I miss?
Not a lot.
Nothing.
Jesus.
There's no rooms.
You missed all of this.
Someone's got the rooms.
The place I just snuck into, that's part of this establishment, Rob, yeah?
It is, yeah.
I look at the barkeep. You ever seen 3 dwarves? Just arguing over nothing.
Those like out in the rooms out back. You can hear them in the street again, can you?
Oh, well, he were far more. Yeah, them 3 actually, yeah.
Yeah, doing at it all since he got here a couple hours ago.
What did you hear from your end?
Well, me?
No, the barkeep.
Alright. Just talking to you, mate.
I was just talking to you, my apologies. Don't know, they're arguing about something about a shipment. They had to leave because someone left a map back at the mines. I don't know. Dwarves arguing about rocks and mining.
There's a sled out yonder. If it gets brought back, they'll give everyone their jewellery on it. So I've heard.
We could do some funds.
Mm-hmm. Some understatement
Hmm.
of the
It'd be a
century.
shame if someone else were to get there first, you know.
Would definitely be.
So, where exactly was this wagon?
Outside, it's snow.
I try and say in like a somewhat hushed tone, but loud enough to still be heard.
He'd whisper.
Out northward. Into the snow on tracks. They left it on the tracks.
It's snow on track. Outstanding.
Why did they leave it?
Because the dwarves are idiots. Not because dwarves are idiots, because
Fair enough.
these particular
No.
dwarves are idiots.
They're idiots.
Because we're definitely not racist.
Hashtag not racist. Oh, Jesus, Steve.
They were falling out over nothing. I don't mean
They
intellectually idiots. I mean they were just stupid arguing amongst themselves. You got to work together out in the wilds.
How easy do you feel it would be, gentle steps to go and
Find
recover
it
this,
blindfolded.
Wagon?
Find it blindfolded. Probably drag
Find
it
you
here
think
myself.
through anything's work?
Vale, as a side note, you would be very much aware of that mountainous path heading to Calvin's Cairn Mines and the road that would take to Brinshandar. And more importantly, it goes almost out to the east through. Where is it? Are you say you're based in Targos, or where do we say you're based?
No, I'm Cairconnig.
Cairconnig. Cool. If Calvin's Cairn's at the top, Cairconnig's to one side, and the path like almost coming down like that sort of shape, eventually goes down a place called the Dwarven Valley, which is where a lot of the mining operations is, and eventually gets to Brinshandar, and you loosely pass Tourmaline and Targos as well. But yeah, it's a path that you're aware of. You're aware of the mining, and you're fairly confident you're aware of the trade route that they likely would have taken.
Do I know what kind of like terrain it is? Would it be tricky? Is it, you know,
The roads are pretty
something that
good.
I'd be able
Like,
to,
if you
know,
stick to the
scale easily,
roads,
or is it?
It's going to be snow covered. Like
Yeah.
snow travel is part of life. Like you have to go through snow. But as long as you stay to the roads, it tends to be pretty
Snow is a given.
easier going than if you were to go cross country. And as long as you stick within the main roads between settlements, they're fairly safe. Most of the horror stories of creatures of the night and wild beasts and barbarians tend to be away from the settlement because they're more scared of the society than you are of them as well. They want their seclusion, especially the wild animals that you're aware of. They tend to just stay away from the town. They're not very domesticated.
How traveled is that road where they left the wagon?
How travelled?
Yeah.
Um,
The
Vale
idiots left a wagon full of like diamonds, gold, whatever the heck is in there in the middle
Vale
of the
would
road.
know that as of late, pretty quiet. Back in the heyday, it was a fairly favourable tourist road to go up. Think like, I don't know, Snowdon. Like, you go to the mountain, people do excursions up the top and go see the peak and see the nice views of 10 towns from the top of the mountain. And Vale is basically a tour guide, loosely speaking. Since everything's happened, it's pretty quiet. The only trade routes really now are the dwarves who don't live in the areas up there within the mines, who travel out, whether to trade, to have a couple of days off, and the shipment is
Need to
probably
go
one.
to work. Yeah.
Yeah, like the shipment is probably one of the main reasons that road still is used.
I'm just trying to gauge if it's still gonna be there if we go looking for it, or if somebody has like. chance they're
I'd
lucky
assume
one.
so. Yeah,
From
it's
Vale,
not. The only people
your,
that travel are the dwarves. So.
Yeah.
you,
Alright.
Vale, from your experience, since like the tourism trade and the travelling trade has come down, and since the winter has taken hold, the road is pretty much exclusively only used as a trade route to the mines, and the shipments aren't as common. So
Okay.
it's not unheard of. Tribes and barbarians and things are in the area, but it's not a common thoroughfare by any stretch.
I'll sort of look to Vale for acknowledgement as well, as I say. We could do with going sooner rather than later, because overnight, if a blizzard hits, it'll cover it.
Yeah, I agree. If we go sooner rather than later as well, it's even though it's unlikely, it's even less likely that someone will come across it before morning.
I'm totally up for that. I've just got a few questions for the barkeep first.
While you do that, Elkis, I'll be back. Jim, I need to do something real quick. I'm going to stealth back to the dwarves. On an 11.
Okay, you head outside.
Open the doors.
Yeah.
I'll walk in, door creaking, shushing at the dwarves. I'm like, your sled wagon thing, was it pulled by beasts of burden, or how were you lot pulling it?
Just pulled it. Had a couple of ropes in the front between the three of us. Two pulling, one pushing. It just ran on.
The three of you just
runners.
pulled it?
Yeah.
Alright. Noted. See ya. I'll stealth out.
You gonna go do the job, or
Aye, we'll have it back to you. You be quiet, I'm concentrating. 13 plus 20. Not 13 plus
13
20.
plus
13,
20?
13 plus 7
33?
equals 33, mate.
say, holy shit. Cool, yeah, you,
Level
Flying
1.
out through the wall.
Wait till I hit level 2.
you vanish back into the night, leaving some shocked and bewildered dwarves in a room. What just happened? Who is that guy? Like, what?
Who is that masked man? I'll leave some dairy milk
It's
on
this weird
the
man that
table
turns
next
up
to
and
him.
asks about a wank.
Kill my father, prepare to die.
Three boxes of dairy milk.
All right, you vanish.
Yeah, I'd like to speak to the barkeep while Gentle Steps is.
Yeah, he's just sat there in a chair in the corner, nursing his own drink.
Is there any stalls at the bar?
Yeah, there'll be a couple.
Not tall enough for you to climb on, though.
It's you can get on there, but it's an effort.
Yeah,
Athletics check.
And rest on the bar.
Okay, it's not the most dignified way of getting on a stool ever in the world, but you do manage to get up there and.
Please make an acrobatic check or an athletic check, just to see if you can climb on the stool.
How tall are you, Elkis? How tall are you? 3.5 foot.
3.5 foot.
Ah, you're massive. That's fine. Like, we've got it in your head that you're the size of Tinkerbell. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not the most dignified approach, but you are on the stool. You just kind of adjust yourself
It's
a little
gravy
bit. You are on there.
Barkeep, do you know of Brannock, the glassblower?
That dwarven fellow who worked up at Black Irons.
He was a dwarf?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. You've been very useful so far already.
Thanks, I guess.
I'm assuming you heard that he's been murdered.
Yeah, I heard about it yesterday. Deliveries of the mead came in, they mentioned it. Seemed like a nice enough chap.
Did he stay in one of your rooms?
He did, yeah. What would you story on now? He been staying here for a few months. Just keeping his head down, I think. Just wanted to do a bit of work and stay out of trouble. Don't tend to ask questions in people in these parts, you know how it is. Everyone's got their own little thing going on.
Yeah, that's what we heard as well.
Shame he's dead, though. He used to have a couple of drinks in here. Seemed nice enough.
Yeah. I'm assuming you've emptied his room out already, with you being full up. What did you do with his stuff? Did you keep it? Or
There's a lot of stuff in there, to be honest with you, little one. Like, he had a couple of some outdoor, nothing valuable. Like, he had a couple of pairs of boots and some outdoor clothes that flogged to merchant shop. Pay his rest of his tab off, like, but there wasn't anything, no money, nothing worth keeping.
It's gravy time.
Stones or anything strange, anything?
No, that stuck out, to be honest with you. Just seemed like a working man, down on his luck. Didn't really have much about him.
Did anybody come asking for him?
Can't say they did. First person to mention it. pretty sure you weren't telling anyone where we were staying. I'm surprised you know.
Well, yeah, we're kind of looking into the murders. No one else seems to be, so.
Like people are more worried about staying alive than investigating it when a couple of workers go missing. You know what I mean? Like, it's a shame he's dead, but
Yeah, well, that's fair enough, but I kind of feel someone should do some good as well, and it might be more. There seems to be 3 already from what I've heard.
yeah, it happened up in Targos and in East Haven as well, from what I've heard.
Yeah, that's what we got told. You don't know where he died, do you?
I'm afraid, fella. I found my way. It was just in town somewhere. Just heard it on rumours, like anyone else. Just didn't come home one night. Heard about it next day.
Well, I can't really think of anything else unless there's anything of interest you know that can help a weary investigator out.
I mean,
I flick him a gold.
okay. Welcome your money, but there's not a lot else I can tell you. I mean, so yes, I mean, you spoke to anyone in the other 2 places where this has been happening?
Not as yet. I have looked around a bit, and I've tried asking like folk that like trackers and stuff like that, and people that get about a bit. But not an awful lot of luck at the minute.
That's fair enough.
These folk have agreed to help me out, so fingers crossed.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think I don't know, maybe ask around in Targos. That's where it started, as far as I understand. I don't know, like, look, people go missing, right? And rumors spread and things happen, but as far as I was aware, he kept his head down, did his honest day's work, went home at the end of the night, and was just not wanting any attention drawn to him. Looks like whatever he was chasing or whatever he was looking out for caught up with him.
Aye. Oh, thank you.
It's all right, little one.
Return to the table.
I'm
Okay.
gonna go up to the bar and get another drink.
Okay.
Just a quick question. I've been hearing about this traveling caravan merchant. Do you happen to know where they're based? Apparently they've got some really good wares, and it's always good to have something. You never know what they might be able to trade.
The couple, which one are you looking for?
I can't remember. Didn't remember the name of that traveling caravan.
Talk.
Targ, that's it. Targ?
Togs lot. I mean, I know of them. I think swing bound here probably every 10, 20 day or so. Depends on the routes. They tend to do a bit of a loop round, as far as I'm aware. They normally head here from East Haven, come through town, head over to Targos, then head north.
Okay, no problem. Do you have a description? Because literally, the only thing we know is a name. We don't even know what the caravan looks like or anything like that. But all that we know is that they've got really good wares.
Longer that far, I mean, from what I hear, they're a bit suspicious types as travelling merchants. No,
Aren't we all a little bit suspicious, though?
Ain't that the truth? I mean,
This plot dump is brought to you by D&D Beyond.
just trying to get the description. Does have a description. I'm just trying to remind myself of it.
Sorry that I threw a spatter in the works. Of
No, it's
I was
not.
going to
It's-
ask about that.
You
That's
press
absolutely fine.
the button.
I mean, she looks like anyone else. Dark hair. She keeps it long, and it always stands out against the white hood she's always wearing. That nice, she's got that fancy white cloak. It's from one of the beasts. normally travels the wagon itself. It has these ribbons coming off the back, black with this gold icon. I know for a business, whatever it might be, but stands out. Looks nice. It's black and gold. Something I might do in here actually.
So you definitely see him from a mile off.
I don't know. Stands out in the snow. That's for sure. That might be the point. So people can see where she is.
Not exactly like she's hiding then.
Yeah,
Okay,
she's
no problem.
not exactly quiet about it. She's got a team of people who travel with her and help set up and set down shop, and a couple of pack mules that pull the caravan. Like, it's a fairly sizable operation.
I go into a whisper at this point. I'm like, I've heard that a couple of people are accusing him of these murders that are going on. Do you know anything about it?
No reason to suspect them than anyone else. I mean, can't say I've run into anyone who I think could go around sticking people for no good reason, but I don't know. People around here tend to have a bit of a shady past. It's just how it is up here, I guess, and times are tough. People do hope for a bit of coin. People get desperate enough.
Have you heard anything more about any of these murders at all? You know, tavern talk and all that.
Not really, just I only heard what gossip. I didn't really know much about it. I say when Brannock didn't come home, I don't know, thought he'd just been working late or crashed somewhere else, and the next day talks around as Dwarven fella's been killed, and turns out it was him.
Anyone ask if he was around here?
Nah, like I say, I think he'd pay good money for that not to happen.
Because
You're the first folk who knew he was staying here.
we've been told a couple of people were looking for him. Apparently they were getting pretty close to him as well.
People were looking for him. They didn't get as far as here, I'm afraid.
No, it's fine. Are you sure?
Yeah.
No one's really been coming in here lately that's really stood out.
I mean, apart from your lot, no, not really. A couple of locals come in, but you're the first
Strangers.
strangers, if you like, that have come in a few weeks.
No, that's fine.
Grateful for the custom, to be honest. Down to our last few bits of coin. Times
Well,
are tough.
We're always happy to support local. It's the way it should be. And I slip him a gold coin as I take a round of mead.
Look, like, you want to catch up with this caravan if you seem that. I mean, I've got a rough idea what route they take through the town, so if that's any good to you.
That would be excellent, thank you.
Okay. And one of you will need to take a note of this. So normally, once it comes to Brinshandar from East Haven, usually brings us a few. Usually, fish delivery comes from there. They load up in East Haven, come trade here, and then head east over to Targos. And then from Targos, they head up north to Caer Donig and Caer Dineval. Back down to East Haven again. And then this time they go south, around Goodmead, Dugan's-Hole, back up to East Haven and back here. It takes them probably about 20 days to do a total loop. They normally pass through here probably every 20 days.
When was the last time you saw him?
Maybe 3 days or so.
3 days or so.
Say those flags are pretty. A few caravans come through, but it's pretty striking. Like, you know, when they're in town. Don't think they stop very long though. It didn't seem. You know what? You've seen the market, right? Trade's dead. No one's making any coin here. We're nowhere near the lakes. Everyone's on. Unless you've got fish or meat to sell, people aren't interested. The only people drinking are those who rather forget how much meat and fish they ain't got.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you for your help.
All right.
Take the round and sit back at the table. I'll pass on the information.
Information is passed.
wait for gentle steps and head out then, I guess.
Is Gentle Steps there, or is he still AWOL?
Yeah.
You tell me, but I didn't know how you wanted to do timing with me going there and back.
Okay, I imagine by the time you've got there and back, this conversation's been had by the barkeep, and you're kind of rocking about now.
Oh, no.
Yep.
What did I miss?
Round of drinks, with looks of it. You want one?
I'm alright. I've had 2 already today.
Suit yourself.
Are we going to find this wagon then, gentle steps?
I reckon so. A bit of jewellery on it. We can use it to fund the boss, finding out who's stabbing people.
Yeah, from what I can recall about those paths, it should be fairly easy. They're not heavily travelled. The wagon should be still there.
Aye, just the dwarves walking up and down it.
Did you? How do we intend? Do we need to bring the wagon back?
Aye, they want the wagon bringing back.
Do you
But,
have any idea of size?
well,
of the wagon? Are we gonna...
3 dwarves pulled it, so I reckon me and Elkis can pull it. I look actually across at Celine.
You'll
Probably.
know, Vale, from Brinshandar to the Dwarven Valley, depending on how far up that route goes all the way up to Kelvin's Cairn. The full route, all the way up to the mountain, is about 15-20 miles. The dwarves' base of excavation is probably about 15 miles, so you would assume it's somewhere between here and there.
Okay.
So,
Roughly how long would that take?
so if you assume it's
Get
about halfway or it's on that route, you're probably looking across the snow on foot 2-3 miles an hour. So you're probably looking at a good 3-4 hours there, and then back.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay.
probably hitting
if
5-6 p.m. at the moment.
If we leave now, from what I know about that route, we're not going to be back till the early morning. I doubt we'll get a chance to rest.
Why don't we just
before
rest out on the road?
I mean, we can do, but I'm just saying, it's going to be a good at least 3 hours, depending on how far up the trail they've left the wagon. It's a good walk. We're not nipping out. This is going to take like half a day. So I'm all for it. I'm just letting you know.
If the weather's decent, I suppose.
And it is,
If the weather turns
it's
bad,
going to be
yeah.
dark by the time we get there. So, I mean, it's already dark probably. So it's going to be sort of.
It's always more or less
Always
dark.
dark.
If
You
it's
get
like mid-afternoon now, it's
when I
going to
say
be.
you get 6 hours of daylight a day, it's 6 hours of overcast, stormy light, and the rest of it is night.
If we get
Please.
there, without any trouble and we just make it there, get the wagon and manage to get it back with no sort of delays, it's going to be the early hours before we get back. I'm all for it. I'm just letting you guys know what I know about the area.
Well, if we get up there, get the cart, see what time it is. The cart will give us a bit of shelter, I'm assuming.
It might be worth Well, I'm comfortable with staying up there for the night if we get to the cart. But it's about how you guys feel.
Vale,
I'm fine for it.
Celine, and Gentle Steps will all have had experience staying overnight out in the wilderness in the Vale. The Dale, sorry.
In
Wow.
the Vale.
Jesus.
I'm about to say, please, we're not having a situation from Hoth. I'm not sleeping in Vale.
And then Elkis, you're not more worried about the cold, but you've not ventured out of 10 towns before. Adri, you have, but you've not necessarily camped out here very often. You tend to stay.
It's not
Woodland
that
is
I've
more your
enjoyed
thing.
it, yeah.
Winter tundra is not your preferred place to live.
Prefer an inn.
Winter tundra with lots of trees. Yeah, sure.
I mean, Lonelywood has trees. Nowhere else.
I'm happy.
I'm sure we'll manage if we do have to stay out.
For famous words, famous last words.
I could give
It'll
one
be
of you a
fun.
blanket if you need it.
It'll be fun. I suggest we do get going soon though, otherwise, the weather could turn, etc.
Do we have any ideas upon the weather?
It's going to be
Being
snowy.
a ranger.
There's snow.
How
There is always snow.
Constant, benevolent snow.
Always snow with chaos in my eyes.
Do we need a tent or anything? Does anybody else need some kind of tent to bring with them or anything similar?
I mean, I'm
That's a
fine. But...
Great question.
Roll a wisdom check, just general straight wisdom. Celine, gentle steps, and veil. But no, roll survival checks for me.
Thank
You three.
the Lord.
I thought I'll do you throw some of you a bone on that one.
What am I doing? Survival?
I got 15.
Okay.
21.
21?
Boom. All right,
21.
Veil, you tend
Fucking hell.
to know on the mountain itself, you would know where little caves and hideaways are that you tend to use. So you didn't really have to worry about that. Gentle steps and Celine,
That's a loading, I swear to God.
pair of you, historically when people camp out, they either look for natural like rock formations and things. You either put together like temporary igloos and that sort of situation rather than tents. There's not really a big tent trade. People tend to just stack up snow or hollow out areas of compacted snow. Once you've got a fire in there and ventilation, it's usually pretty. That's how a lot of the Goliath tribes and the clan the tribes that you're from, Gentle Steps, have dealt with, and Celine, in your history as well with the tribes you've travelled around with. That's you either made do with caves or made some sort of temporary ice structure.
I'll be back very shortly, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, no,
Both of you have vague experience of doing such things with varying levels of success, almost to a 1 in 20 random chance. But for the most part, you've made good ones, you made bad ones, but you've certainly survived out there.
when you say tent, Celine, do you mean igloo?
Well, I meant for them. But yeah, like, we're finding igloos and everything. I'm not sure how anybody else can kind of sleep on the cold floor, but yeah, I suppose.
I've got a few blankets, and one of them can borrow my armour if they need to lay on it.
That's you can build the igloos. They'll be fine in it.
So again, Elkis, you're pretty quiet down there.
I'm happy to go with whatever you guys think. Whatever's for the best.
Igloos it is. For everybody.
Just build one big igloo.
Yeah. You get an igloo. You get an igloo.
So, what, we going now? You want to go tonight? Make his way out there, pitch black, build an igloo, not get stabbed in his sleep, and then bring the sled back? Or do you want to go in the morning? I mean, I'm easy. People are always trying to stab me in my sleep.
I have no problem seeing in the dark.
It's a frequent
Likewise.
time scale.
Well, going on what Vale said, couple of hours there, unhindered. Drag it
At
back.
least 3, I'd say, provided we get there safely. Depending on how far up the track it is as well, we don't know that. So.
Well, from what the dwarves were saying, I don't think it's too far. I don't think it's not. I mean, they left it on the way here, so it's going to be closer to us than it is to where they brought it from.
Oh, did they
Rob,
say why they left it? They left it.
They got scared of the dark and ran.
And so they left a cart full of jewels and.
It's
you
not
know,
full of
precious
jewels, it's full of
stones.
iron, but the jewels and precious
full of iron.
stones are just a bonus that we're having.
Rob, what would I know about the wildlife in that area and how active sort of the night is in terms of wildlife, etc.?
Roll a survival check for me, please. And
Survival.
What's your preferred terrain?
I'm.
If it
Snowy
isn't
tundra.
snow,
I think it's snow.
you
Desert.
think
She's a
When
desert
I
raid.
find that on Roll20.
you joke. I've made a Tabaxi Ranger
Natural Explorer
myself.
Mountain. Natural Explorer's Mountain.
That's fine. It's not
Survival,
mountainous.
if you want.
But yeah, so it's
Arctic
survival.
mountain.
I have made
Snow Mountain.
I made a character, a ranger, that I had to pick favourite terrain without knowing the setting, and I went, oh, desert, and it was out in like the swamp. I was like, excellent.
I went mountain because of the tourist guide. I went mountain.
No, mountains make sense for you.
For survival, I got a 19 plus 4, 23.
Wow.
Okay. Dangers and things you've ran into in the past. So you're aware of wild animals. There are reindeer, there are moose, there are polar bears, which most of them will leave you alone if you don't piss them off. If you piss off a polar bear, it might try and maul you.
We
That's kind
take
of just
5 adventurers into a moose. I'm out.
I mean, if
polar
we
bears
managed to-
an issue.
If we managed to harness some
you're-
animals, we could get down quicker. Is what I'm
you are
saying.
aware of, you especially, up the mountain, there are reports of yetis and other creatures that tend to live. The further up the mountain you go, the more dangerous it tends to be.
Okay.
There are like mountain creatures of indiscriminate origin that you've heard rumors about people going missing. Most people blame it on the yetis. A few conspiracies.
Yeah.
People are always saying they've seen a dragon, but everyone says they've seen dragons to sound good
Everyone's
enough.
seen a dragon. Yeah. Okay.
Other than that, there's a few rumors out in the east. The far east, that there are orc and goblin encampments. There are barbarian encampments, and probably about 6 months ago, there was a bit of a spate of kind of incursions. A lot of trade routes were getting hit by barbarians. A lot of people wound up dead, but that seems to have quietened down a little bit lately.
Okay.
Before we all
so,
go,
yeah, I'll just.
has anybody? Huh? Sorry, my thing is lagging. So.
Yeah, I think your connection's a little bit iffy there.
Say it again, Silly.
Has anybody got? Is what I last heard.
Has anybody thought before we go? And I'm just questioning the whole group. Has anybody thought to ask the sheriff anything? Is there a sheriff in this town?
There's not so much a sheriff. So each town or each area of 10 towns has what they call a speaker, who's like an elected town mayor. There's not really a police sheriff, or each town has kind of like a standing militia. Should anything go wrong, like the town has its people. There are a couple of the towns are walled. So Brinshandar is walled. East Haven is walled. Targos is walled, and Tourmaline Lane is walled off. The rest are open. A lot of them are just trade hubs, like fishing villages that got a little bit big, or mining towns that got a little bit big, or logging camps that just grew. There is no formal justice system. It's very much mob justice, militia, and the town speaker just deals with other town speakers to keep the politics between the towns. And every now and again they hold big central meetings where each of the town speakers should attend and discuss things, but more often than not, especially in recent times, a few don't bother, and it's a little bit of a mismatch political situation.
What I want to know is where the body is, because I'd like to examine the body when we're back from this little jewel heist, so to speak.
Whoa, we're not robbing anything. I don't steal stuff. I'm doing a job.
You know what I mean.
That's
job
it,
out in the wilderness.
That's if there's any jewels left.
I think there's a better chance of that
Slap.
taking someone out of the body in the morning. It seems quite
Dead now, isn't it?
It's getting late now. If we want to do
Yeah.
anything now, it's going to be a head up to find the wagon.
When we're back from the wagon, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah,
when
in
we're
the
back,
morning. Yeah.
Nobody is awake.
Hmm.
I really want to take a look at that body and see the exact causes. Maybe we're missing something.
that would be good.
Should we drink
We off
up and
the
head
bus?
out then? Yeah.
So what's the plan, ladies and gentlemen?
We're gonna go get the Dwarven jewel sled. Polar bear.
Leave.
Moose.
Jewel
I
shed.
got that far. I mean, like, what's the immediate, more granular plan?
Leave.
Finish drinks and start heading out.
Cool. All right.
I'm gonna pour the rest of my drink into my water skin, since water will freeze while we're out there, but alcohol won't.
That is
Nice.
a great idea.
I
Very
like
good.
it. Strong.
Thank you.
What are you drinking?
It's mead.
Cool.
I'll leave out the signs that mead will also freeze, but never mind.
Yeah.
The thought was
Not
there.
as easily. It's fine.
What's this
Mead,
vodka?
Yeah, we'll definitely
High
freeze
enough,
it. Mine's
high enough
not.
alcohol content in mead for it to not
If-
freeze.
If not, I will make it into a slushy.
Adria's
I will take my
literally
white
drinking.
spirits with me and it
Yeah,
won't
that's
freeze.
what- yeah.
It's just a
Ethanol.
mead lollipop. There's the
Pina
thought.
coladas out there.
Yeah. So we're
Anyway, okay, right, let's bust a move. Let's go.
Okay. So you guys head out of the tavern. The dim light that is available is starting to fade. The the orange flickering of the lanterns, is doing their best to battle against the wind. The wind is winning in some cases, and some of the lights do flicker out. But for the most part, the whole town is kind of eternally lit by this shimmering orange glow from these poles as the oil burns through the night. You make your way northward, past the Northlook Inn, which seems to be shutting up for the night. It's a lot quieter than since you passed it. You head to the north gate of town, which is just a very simple wooden gate. Between you all, you do all have cold weather clothes. You all also own snowshoes, I believe.
Mhm.
If not, you all own snowshoes.
Barefoot.
Which you just know you're probably barefoot, to be fair, yeah. And yeah, you huddle up, you get ready, you pull your bits and pieces together, and you head out from Brinshandar. The path does take a bit of a dogleg. You do head out eastward towards Targus, before the path veers at Targus up towards the Dwarven Valley, towards Kelvin's Cairn. It is freezing. Like, we're talking minus 20. Once you're on the road between the towns, Icewind Dale is not called Icewind for no reason. Like, the wind cuts through. For everyone except Gentle Steps, it verges on discomfort, but you're okay. Your cold weather equipment, your furs, your big fur-lined boots, your onesies, whatever the hell it is you're wearing. Oh, polar bear onesie, like skin one.
Yeah, they're real expensive, like life.
Campaign goals.
Reindeer
bear
onesie with the horn still attached.
Polar bear onesie. One of your nat 20 is a survival check on a dead polar bear. You can have yourself a polar bear onesie.
Excellent.
Anyway, you head out into the wilderness. It is bitingly cold. The blizzards and the snow is always constant, steady of snow. It seems to be stable. The night sky is clear. The stars light up the sky. There is this ever-present kind of shimmering, almost marine greeny blue shimmer to the sky that has been in place for as long as you guys can remember. And you make your way eastward towards the Targus Junction before planning on heading north up towards the Dwarven Valley. It's hard going, calves burn, your legs ache, trudging through the snow with snowshoes on is hard going. Every now and again, the wind will blow through and a gust of snow, like a dusting of snow will come up. Elkis, you struggle the most to get through the snow, but the wind hits you the least, so it's probably kind of half of one, 6 a dozen the other. That's whatever saying that is, you know what I meant.
I'm trying to walk in gentle steps.
It's trail.
shelter.
Yeah, you spend the next kind of hour or so heading towards the Targus Junction, eastward towards Targus. Once you're away from the city, even though the city was quiet, it still had signs of civilization. You could still see the lanterns, you could still see homesteads, you could see footsteps and signs of people. Within 15-20 minutes of leaving Brinshandar, there is nothing. It's just white, the occasional rocks, the occasional trees. It's quiet, and there's just the howling of the wind coming through the valley, and it's just feels very alone. There's the 5 of you just traveling through, and it's solemn, it's pretty oppressive, and you can definitely see how people go missing out. And that is where we'll end our first session of the evening.
Yay! First session of the evening? That's the last
session of the evening.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to
Session
sit.
of the evening.
Sessions
See you in
1 through
half an hour.
5. Let's go. Yeah, you guys
Please
head out.
don't. I work in retail. I have work in the morning.
So join us next week on CSI Icewind Dale.
Am I going to do the... It's a polar bear.
Yes.
We do
7.
not reference CSI Florida in this campaign. No, no, no. CSI Las Vegas or nothing.
Looks like he wasn't cool enough. insert the who here.
Gravy time. Oh, thank you for the follow, Backdraft66, right at the end
Yes,
there.
there's a few people there. I know someone's followed us on the Amazon Prime subscription. Thank you very much for the sub. That is excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much
It
for
was
the people who
Birdles.
watched. Thank you, Backdraft, for the follow. Like I say, it is session 1 of Secrets Worth Dying For, our D&D 5th Ed campaign based on this lovely book, The Wizards of the Coast copy of Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden, where we've met our lovely cast. It is a wonderful, exciting bunch of casts. Very, very interesting people.
Interesting is the word, Rob.
Very colourful band of characters. We'll see how well they fare on the open road. So thank you very much for everyone who's tuned in and watched. Do remember, Secrets Worth Dying For is going to be live on Twitch every Friday from 8 PM on Heavyweight Gaming. I believe, and I'm sure he'll correct me if I'm wrong, it is going to be uploaded to YouTube for those who didn't catch the live stream.
It will indeed in a few days.
It will. There we go,
Hashtag it's gravy time. Hoorah! One
So
day.
thank you very much, guys who sub. As I said before, those who do have Amazon Prime, please check that. If you do have Amazon Prime, you do get 1 free subscription every month. If you're not following any other Twitch channels, please consider subscribing to this one. It doesn't cost you anything with Amazon Prime, and it helps us out to be able to keep producing content and putting shows out for you. Like I say, hopefully we'll see you all again next Friday at 8. If not, jump on the YouTube channel whenever you can to catch up with the gatherings of the crew. Finally, from me, thank you very much for our players. I know a few of you is your first session. It's the first time you lot have played together. I think it's the first time a couple of you have played one of my campaigns or one of my games.
Thank
So
you very much. Sorry, Roberto. Thank you very much for the Prime subscription from Backdraft66.
Hey, thank you.
Hey.
So, thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much for your comments in the chat. It's always great to see the community getting excited and getting involved. Like I say, we do our best to interact when things are not crazy happening. We will always check in. And as always, we'll be putting the betting pool to who dies first shortly.
Cool.
Guaranteed it's me.
And
Won't be gentle stats, it's loaded 20s.
yeah. Oh, I only used them on perception. Thank you very much for watching, guys.
It'll be ironic if a Canadian dies.
It will be ironic. For those that don't know,
in the winter.
For those that don't know, I'm Heavy, and thank you very much for all the new people that came on and followed and used their Twitch Primes and other means to subscribe. So thank you very much for that. Thank you very much to Rob for taking us on this adventure and see how far we get through Icewind Dale around the Frost Maiden. Really looking forward to it. It's been a while since played. If you like what you've seen, we do other things throughout the week. Tomorrow night will actually be Pathfinder 2. And Sunday will be D&D 5th Ed again with Dice of the Beholder, and then we stream Tuesdays more D&D. Wednesdays, this coming Wednesday, we will be doing a review of a Kickstarter. There'll be more information going out on the Facebook. They contacted me a couple of days ago, and we're going to run a small one-shot and review the creations involved in this Kickstarter. It is for 5th Ed, so look out for that on the social media. And then we've got Thursdays and Fridays again. So we're streaming 5 nights a week and hosting 1 night a week, because why have an evening?
The community is growing all the time. The community is fantastic. So yeah, it's really good to see people getting involved. Follow, like, share. Let us know what you think on the comments, Facebook, YouTube. Give us a like and follow on all of them. It does help us out massively. So yeah, from me, thank you very much. You'll see me next Thursday in the shoes of Larry in the Carbon 2185 universe. And then back here again Friday to see where this nightly venture into the wilderness leads.
Polar bear hunting. We want that onesie.
Polar bear hunting. We all want polar bear onesies now.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll see you next Friday.
Say bye-bye, players.
Bye.
Bye, players.
There we go.